closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hanson. I'm here with the Tuckster, Dave Tuckman. We're going to be doing a little 20-40 Limit Hold'em. Monday is our limit night, so we're going to take this opportunity to do some Limit Hold'em. Yeah. Now, I was saying that I know that there are a few players that have come onto the table just for the game, which probably means that they're probably pretty good if they listen to the show. And I know that there's 2 or 3 players that I'm familiar with that are pretty solid mid-limit players that are on the show. So we actually might see kind of what you might call a tough game. But let's see how this turns out. Doesn't necessarily mean there won't be a lot of players in a pot, but you know there might be some moves in the game that might be well justified.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it actually. I mean, anytime you can see really good mid-limit Hold'em players, you know, it really can be educating and could be a lot really entertaining actually.
All right, great. Let's get to the table and let's start the lineup.
Let's do it. Seat 1, we've got, and this is, I guess, is the only true Hollywood, folks. This is Hollywood Tony.
Yeah.
And it's Tony Caden, and he's wearing that full tilt hat. He looks ridiculous in that hat, I got to tell you. I'm friends with Tony, I can say that. Seat number 2, we've got Dan. And Dan is exactly who we're talking about. He is a mid-limit professional poker player.
Yeah.
He only plays Limit Hold'em, and he's never been on the show. And one of the reasons he's never been on the show is because he doesn't want to show his cards. I like to see how much he mixes it up. I'm really curious to see how he plays. Seat number 3, we've got Ryan. And are you familiar with Ryan's play?
No, Ryan is one of the gentlemen that come down here just to play on the show.
Super. Well, there you go.
New to the table.
Well, seat number 4, we've got Miralem. And there's Mira.
Yes, Miralem. And I think he goes by the name Bozzy.
Bozzy. Okay. Good to know.
Let's see if we can get confirmation about that.
Seat number 5, we've got Joseph, and Joseph's a local player as well, and usually plays 20-40 Limit Hold'em. Sometimes he'll play 30-60. Seat number 6, we have Saif, and I've played with Saif numerous times also. Saif's pretty solid, right? Pretty.
I don't know. I'm not really familiar. I mean, I know the guy in seat 7. That's Steven, and he has been pretty solid from what I've seen.
Okay.
He's the player right over here in seat 7. That's Steven.
Steven.
Yeah.
And seat number 8 is Ramona, everybody's favorite. Ramona, I love her.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart. And see how she plays tonight. Seat number 9, we've got Tony, another Tony there. Yeah, and he goes by TNT Tony.
TNT Nazar, right?
And Tony actually finished, I want to say, 6th or 5th place in this year's 2,500 Limit Hold'em.
Yeah, he's a big-time tournament player, and a lot of his success has come in limit tournaments. And, of course, you know that sometimes I inherently say, well, he's a tournament player, so we'll see how he plays, yada, yada, yada. I remember him when he used to play with me in the beginning about 2 years ago in the 10 game. And I'll be honest with you, I thought he was kind of a tournament fish. He's improved his game a lot. I don't necessarily say, oh, Tony's at the table, I want to play in this game anymore. There's a lot better spots to pick than getting mixed up with him now in a cash game.
He's a tournament limit specialist.
Right.
Which obviously is much different than a no-limit specialist.
Yeah. So we're going to get into the first hand of the night here. We're playing 20-40 Limit Hold'em. The yellow chips are $5 chips. We're playing a 4-8 chip structured game. And seat number 5 here is brought it in under the gun with pocket 8s. Ramona is called with queen 10 offsuit. And Tony Caden is over there in seat 1 with ace king suited. And here we go to the flop. Well, 10-8-6 here, and we got a set of 8s for the under the gun raiser, and he's going to lead in. Ramona is just going to call with top pair. And look at Tony Caden, Dave. He's going to raise with ace king suited. It kind of, a little surprising play with the board 10-8-6 with 2 clubs. Because, I mean, he played it slow pre-flop. I mean, wouldn't you just get out of there on that flop? The turn is a 4. Now Ramona picks up a queen of clubs draw. And let's see if Joseph continues to lead with his set. He does. I mean, I guess maybe Tony was raising to try to get a free card there. 4 clubs on the turn.
Ramon, it's your call I'm worried about, not his bet.
Obviously, if you raise and you don't get the free card at the ace king,
Yeah.
you can normally throw it away.
I mean, sometimes people will 3-bet pre-flop with ace king there. Tony chose not to. But when the flop comes out like that, I just don't really know. I'll just get away from ace
Well,
king.
you might only have 2 outs, even if your ace or king are good. How do you
Oh,
know?
boy, and the river is a queen, and Ramona makes 2 pair. And the set of 8s is going to bet out again, and Ramona just calls.
Hey, give her credit for knowing that she might be beat.
Well, there were 3 clubs out there, so
Yeah.
she just made the call, and Joseph's going to take down a nice pot here with a set of 8s. You know, set of 8s is one of those borderline hands, Dave. I never like open limping in any limit game. I really don't necessarily think it's proper. If it's a loose game, okay. I understand the queen jack suited and
Right.
stuff like that, but I don't like to do it. And 8s is really like one of those borderlines where I'll either raise or fold with it. Sometimes good limit players will say you don't really want to play anything lower than pocket 9s from up front in a limit holder.
In a tough limit game, yeah.
Yeah.
It obviously all depends on the makeup of the game.
Right.
I got to tell you, this is going to be a real education for me. Limit Hold'em was, my bread and butter for such a long time. And over the last 3 or 4 months, I've really turned to no limit Hold'em. So this will be a lot of fun to me to watch this one.
Ramona's going to bring this one in for a raise to 40 here. She's got ace-6 offsuit here in 3rd spot. And normally she actually doesn't play that, Dave, from what I've seen from her on the show, but she might be scheming a little bit for the last hand.
That's the queen 10 there.
Yeah,
Now, if you're going to play ace-6 from up front, you'd rather to raise it than to
absolutely.
limp in.
Limp in with it, yeah.
Probably a hand that you and I would probably fold, though.
Look at this. Seat 5 is going to 3-bet with 6-10 offsuit.
Actually, no, he just called.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Look,
So he's defending his blind here, and he's dominated here. King 9-8 here. 3 diamonds.
Who we believe
Well, he's the only player with a diamond. He's got a 10 of diamonds.
I'll go with the 4, man. Go with the 4, man?
And it's seat 5 versus seat 8 there. And seat 5 with the 10-6 of diamonds. The 10 of diamonds is 6 of spades.
I think it went check here. Turns a 5. Little commotion in the background. TNT, of course. And they're still in the hand. 10-6 is still in the hand, and it went check here again.
And look at Joseph is still the favorite here.
And the river here is a king, and now Joseph's going to come out and bet, and he's going to take it down there with the bluff.
Yeah, and even though you see the check mark next to Ramona's hand, it's only a check, obviously, if it goes down to showdown, which it didn't go.
How could Joseph still have been a favorite on the turn there?
I'm not sure
Well,
exactly.
he had a straight draw, got shot to the 7, as well as diamonds, as well as a 10. Would that give you more outs than, say, 20?
I wouldn't think it would.
23 outs, 9 outs? Yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe the percentages were still up there from the flop.
Yeah, possibly.
Kind of strange.
You know, Barry Woods emailed us from New Zealand.
And he loves us. He's in New Zealand and he's thinking of us.
Yeah, he was telling that he was playing a little 5-10 limit hold'em. He's glad to see that Mike got his clock cleaned on Friday night. And he said that, Dave, you think you missed a value bet with pocket 9s on the river, something that you came up to me and said today you thought you missed too on the river.
I went home that night. My wife said, "Why didn't you bet the river with the 9s?" It was actually right after the hand. I even said to myself, "I go, why didn't I bet? I mean, I should have bet 500 on the river there." Really.
Of course, you can keep this show interactive by emailing us at live@thebike.com. Now, seat number 2 is going to bring this one in for a raise with ace-queen suited here. Pretty solid player, Dan is. He raises. And Saif is going to defend here with a suited connector. 6-7 of clubs. And Saif has got an open-ended straight draw. Dan's going to bet, and Saif just check calls. Jack 5-4, couple diamonds. Well, here we go to the turn. Turns a 7. Now Saif picks up a pair, and now he's going to come out and bet. And now Dan gets rid of it here. He bet the flop, made a continuation bet, and now he folds. I gotta say, Dan's game is really, really solid. But it's funny that from what we've seen on the show, I thought some people's games were solid, and I saw what they were playing and such, and then you kind of have a different opinion. And so,
I mean, Dan is one player that I actually have, I have a lot of respect for.
Right.
He can mix it up.
Yeah.
He's tight, he's solid, but he can be aggressive, he can bluff. He's really got all those weapons in his arsenal.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can see him tonight.
And Ryan and Bozzy. Ryan in seat 3, seat 4, Bozzy, came to play on the show. I wonder if they're 2+2ers. Maybe Donna, our floor host, can ask them. Seat 4 and seat 3, are they on 2+2? What are their handle names? Ryan's got pocket jacks here in seat number 3. And you'd imagine he's going to open for a raise, and he does.
No, we need a service. Service, please. Double 0.
What's your name? Oh, maybe he doesn't want to give it up to you. Who knows? Seat 6 is Seat 6 here is going to make the call in the small blind with 4-5 of diamonds, Dave. We're going to take this one heads up. Ryan, the pre-flop raiser. And
Now, 4-5 diamonds, we always talk about a hand like that, has so much more value in no limit hold'em.
And look at this. Saif is going to check raise on this flop, 9-4-3 with a couple clubs. I'll get to that in a second. Ryan's going to 3-bet, and Saif calls.
And you can see
This play, because I see so many people make this play in the small blind, and I question it, calling with a raise with a suited connector on the small blind. The turn is a 9.
Oh, that's a terrible, terrible card if you're Ryan. God, you think about it, if Saif was raising with top pair.
And look at this, Ryan, it goes check, check here. Well, he's got a club draw. Maybe he wants to take a free card and not get check raised. Now, the river's a 10, and let's see if he calls here. Like you said, top pair paired, and the clubs got there. So you wonder what you can beat here if you have jacks.
Yeah, I mean, all you can really beat, obviously, is like, say, 5-6. You can beat a 4. It's a tough spot to be in. You know, in limit hold'em, obviously, it's only one more bet.
Right, it's one more bet. Could this guy have done this with a 4?
And you got to look at the pot. How big is this pot right now?
How about 5-6 as well? Maybe
Exactly, yeah.
I think maybe I make this call for one extra bet here, Dave.
Well, oftentimes you got to look at it and go, well, I'm probably getting about 7-1 on this call. Will he bluff more than 1 out of 7 times?
Well, he folds, and you know, Ryan isn't familiar with Saif. Saif's a bit of an action player, and as the night goes on, I think that Ryan will probably be more apt to make that call on the river there. What I was going to say was that if you don't call raises and limit hold'em, which you should in a tough game with a suited connector from back position, why on earth would you call it from the small blind when you're in the worst position?
Exactly.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and no limit, obviously. The implied odds are so much higher.
Right.
And obviously, you can bet people off of hands so much easier.
Right.
Because you can make a big river bet.
Right. Again, you want to follow a live thread, you can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums. Tournament Poker, World Poker Tour, etc. Live at the Flag official thread for March 6th, 2040 Limit Hold'em.
Ace King in seat 1. That's for Hollywood Tony there. Tony Caden. He's going to raise it up. Ace King's pretty much a hand I'll raise in any position if I'm the first one in the pot.
Absolutely.
You know, some people say, well, do you ever just limp in? I go, you know what, in limit hold'em,
You never really
probably
open
not.
limping, right?
Yeah,
With any hand. I
limit
wouldn't
hold'em,
think.
especially Ace King.
Unless it's a really, really loose table, like I said, you have some sort of drawing hand, you know what I mean?
I mean, the limp re-raise move just doesn't work in limit hold'em, folks.
Steven makes the call with 9-10 offsuit, and Ramona's in there with 10-4. And Tony hits the pair.
Yeah, and neither player has anything
And he's
here.
going to come out and bet here.
Takes it down.
You know, again, I look at it and I'm like, you know, Steven, I think, you know, he's a solid player. You know, maybe you can't obviously judge everybody by pre-flop standards, especially in certain forms of game. But I really think that Limit Hold'em is a huge, huge pre-flop selection game.
I agree.
I mean, would you call Tony Caden's raise in the small blind with 9-10 offsuit when he raises from mid position?
I'm not going to call many play gold 9-10 off.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not, there's not much value there in limit hold'em. I think small blind play and big blind play is two of the biggest leaks in most players' games. Pre-flop and limit hold'em.
Yeah.
It's just, why do you want to put more money in the pot with an inferior hand out of position?
Right. There's actually been a lot of literature written in card play regarding blind play as well.
It was funny. Matt Matros wrote an article saying that you should almost call with anything in the big blinds.
From a raise from late position,
yeah,
right.
while Barry Tannenbaum was saying, no, you shouldn't at all.
Right, right.
It's kind of...
Big one.
That's all right. I can tell you.
Well, the button's going to raise here with queen jack off suit here. That's not a bad play. Now, Tony's going to call with an ace deuce. I mean, there was only 2 people in the pot. And seat 5 had limped with ace 9. Again, if I'm going to open, I would probably raise with ace 9 in that spot. Here we go to the flop, and Steven's hit top pair. Queen 6-3, and he's going to bet.
I like the raise on the button there with queen jack.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
If you get a limper in middle position who maybe is representing, say, some sort of connector.
Hey, Dave, especially if you have Tony Caden, who we know is really, really tight.
Yeah.
Why not raise?
I'm surprised Tony.
I'm surprised Tony called with ace deuce off suit there. Yeah, yeah.
Same problems in limit hold'em
Right.
apply to no limit hold'em. Generally, with a hand like ace deuce, you're either going to lose a big pot or win a small one.
Yeah.
Just like I'll see your hand, right? Yeah.
So again, this is going to be kind of exciting. You know, sometimes we do the 8-16 game, and it's just kind of almost pointless to go through commentary of it. But a lot of these players play for a living. It can be kind of a tough game, so I think that we'll definitely be totally open to criticizing some of the players we see tonight.
It's always interesting to see some of the better players, obviously.
Right.
You know, sometimes people are like, "Oh, I want to see live players." I actually prefer. I want to see the best we can see.
Right.
You know.
Can I get a bottle of water and a Pepsi?
Bring them down.
3 clubs. I know, 2 clubs. 3 clubs. 3 clubs. There are a lot of things.
Got an ace-8 in seat number 7. But it's not going to get to him because Saif looks like he is going to open raise
Yeah.
with
Pocket nines, okay.
a couple black nines. Sort of a middle position. I like that play. And he's probably going to take it down here. I don't imagine Dan is going to call. I think it's 5-4.
Yeah, he's not going to call. Email here from Chris C. He says, "Hey, Tuck Rama." Of course, he's referring to me, but of course, everyone always mixes this up, Dave.
Yeah.
Because you play on Absolute and talk about them, you should try to get them to sponsor you. They're fairly generous about that, as I've been sponsored by them in the past for some big bucks. Well, our producer is listening to this. I actually love that site. It's the site I play on. Dave, I know you don't play a lot of internet poker,
But I will if somebody's going to start sponsoring me.
if anybody wants to see me, I'm usually on there at least 4 or 5 nights a week playing a little no-limit hold'em. And my name is pretty easy to pick out, especially the avatar as well. Dan has got ace-jack suited here in the
I
small
like
blind.
that, though. Tuckarama.
Right.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Maybe we can send them something.
Now, this is interesting. I'd like to see how Dan plays this in the small blind with ace-jack suited
Yep.
from kind of a late position raise, and he's just going to call.
He's going to make the call.
I thought he might 3-bet it there.
Well, okay. He's got ace-jack suited. Sometimes you can cold call with that hand.
Yeah.
And C3 is going to defend here with king-7 offsuit.
Well,
Well, king 3-8 here. Dan has
spades.
got the nut flush draw. Ryan comes out and bets, and let's see how Dan's going to play this. He's going to make the check call here. He could hit an ace here or spade. Well, the turn's an 8. Check. A bet here and a call. And if this miss goes miss, it's probably going to go check, check.
I would imagine so.
The river's a 6. Yeah, there you go. Check, check. You know, it's funny. There are 2 hands, I've said this before on the show, that, you know, kind of as everybody reads as they get better, they read David Skolansky's Hold'em for Advanced Poker Players. And I think there was a passage in there where it said that you could almost say that you probably should only cold call in limit hold'em with 2 particular specific hands, which is ace jack suited and king queen suited. I remember him saying, making up.
I mean, I'm gonna disagree here though. Now, if I'm in a small blind and somebody raises in middle position and there's 2 or 3 callers,
Right.
okay, I have no problem smooth calling it. I don't want to
Yeah.
bump it up to 3 spots. But if I get one raiser and he's in somewhat late position and I have ace jack suited in the small blinds, why not make it? If I'm gonna play the hand, why not make it 3 bets, drive the big blind out, and take control of the pot?
Well,
I mean, it's just another way to play the hand. But I
if
mean,
he had done that, he probably would have driven the big blind out and taken
oh,
it down.
exactly.
Yeah.
He probably bets the flop and takes it down right there.
Yeah. I don't necessarily mind the play by Dan. I've done that before with ace jack suited. Ace jack again offsuit is a little bit different. Ace queen, maybe 3-bet. Kind of. I mean, nothing's absolute, Dave, in poker, obviously. Now we're going to see it limped around here. First one that we haven't seen raise 4-way action. Queen 9 jack here.
We don't want to
I mean, some people will accuse me of being a little overly aggressive, but if I'm going to play a hand, I want to play it strong.
Now seat 4 here, Bozzy has come. Excuse me. Actually, he's gone checked around. Turn here is a 10. Now it doesn't look like anyone has a king.
Nobody has a king, but
Joseph
Ramona's
has-
got the 8.
Yeah, and so does Joseph. And Ramona's going to come out and bet on the bottom end. Excuse me, seat 5 bets and Ramona calls.
Now Ramona's actually free rolling here because if a king comes out, she's going to win it,
That's right.
and that's why you see 9% next to our hands.
River is a 6. And it goes check, check here. And they're going to chop this one up with a queen high straight.
I had 8.
Dave, we got some exciting new things going on at Live at the Bike, and one of the most exciting things I want to point out to everybody is anyone that's familiar with Skype, which is SKYPE. You can go to Skype.com and download their free software. Starting today, you can leave a voice message for me or Dave. By going there, and you can you leave a message for us at Live at the Bike. That is the nickname in the Skype box. Each week we'll play your messages and answer your questions on the show. Do as best as we can.
Yeah.
And I think they're saved as an MP3 file, right, Isaac? So that you can just play it as audio.
Cool, and I'm going to assume that we are going to play and answer the best one.
That's right. So you can Skype us. Skype us at Live at the Bike. Check it out. You can also check out my Knockout Bart tournament. It's there right now at the LAPokerscene.com. I just registered for it. It's this Sunday, March 12th at 3:30 Pacific time, 10 plus 1. $10 plus 1 with a $100 bounty on my head.
But look at that, it's limited to the first 100 players, so
Yeah.
get in on there quick.
$100 bounty on my head, 10 plus 1.
That's pretty cool. So we're talking about pretty much, we're talking about a $10,000 tournament. I'm sorry, we're talking about a $1,000 tournament with a $100 free roll.
Dealer just
Not bad.
dealt in TNT by mistake, and it's going to be a misdeal. Ramona hits him because Ramona had ace queen and c8. Again, we're playing 20-40 limit hold'em here. Yellow chips are $5 chips.
Ace 10 suited.
And this is a pretty big game, obviously. Lots of action. You could easily sit down in a session and lose 2, 3, even 4 racks, Dave. I mean, I have won and lost, not often, 4 racks over 5 or 6 hours in this game, which is $2,000.
I mean, this is pretty much this. Maybe 15:30 is pretty much the starting point. If you're playing live and you want to be a professional poker player, this is pretty much the bottom level of it, isn't it?
Now, this is interesting here. Seat number 7 is going to bring this one with ace-9 of diamonds. Tony Caden is going to call with a king-queen offsuit. That's a hand that I usually don't call an early position raiser with. And we can see that C5 is really defending with any 2 cards. He's going to call with a 10-3 suited.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hand, king-queen offsuit there. I'd almost rather 3-bet it or throw it away, and more often than not, throw it away.
Well, he's got top 2 now.
Well,
You'd imagine that Steven's probably going to continuation bet, and let's see if Tony's going to raise.
well, Joseph's
pretty
open.
connected.
And Joseph's got a gut shot straight draw plus the flush draw. He's got a pretty big hand.
Yeah,
you
he
can
does.
see, look at the percentages there.
Now, it went bet, raise, call, and Steven said, you know what, I might be able to take one off here. If I hit my ace or my 9, it might be good, and he's right. The turn is a 6. And now Tony's going to bet, I'm sure. It gets checked to him, and then now it's really time for ace-9 to release. He does. But Joseph's going to stay in there with his draw, and he probably should.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's limit hold'em. Needs a spade or a jack. The river's a 10.
That's not going to do it.
I got you.
And Tony is going to check it down here. And I know you would say, you know, with king-queen, you might bet the river there anyways,
Well,
right?
I mean, you wonder why. Would you check that?
Would that guy check a jack to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Would he check the jack to you?
But then you look at it and you say, you know what, though? Am I ever going to get called by a hand that I wouldn't be beaten by? Or is this guy capable of making a check raise? The good thing about limit hold'em is that it's only one extra bet, right? Now, you could see possibly checking that in a no-limit game when you're $10,000 deep, right? King-queen.
Mexican poker.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, a lot of players are a little tricky. They go to jack. You also, somebody might not even bet the jack, being scared of ace jack there.
Right.
But it's not the nuts. In a limit game, I'm all about betting for value, though.
Buttons moved over here to Bozzy in seat 4. Skype us live at the bike.
It's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. Bozzy's going to raise it up here on the button with 8-10 of diamonds. Okay, he's going to make a little button steal. See if Saif, who's pretty loose, see if he's going to defend here, and he does. We can't see what he has over there. Now we can see 6-4 off suit here. Here we go to the flop.
Ah, he's open-ended.
Well, he's open-ended here. Let's see how he's going to play it. Now, he check-raised with middle pair last time, and this time he's just going to check-call with his draw
Yeah, Bozzy's got a gut shot.
to the 9.
There
And there it is. He has made what you would love to have with that hand, and Saif is drawing dead.
Yes.
Hopefully for him, an 8 or a 3 wouldn't come. Now, a 3 would probably be the worst card. Well, it's an ace.
It is a third heart, and he's not going to represent.
But I like the bet here by Bozzy. Again,
Me
I'm
too.
not necessarily scared of someone who checks into me with
But
a
how many
third heart.
players, we see like a player like Shan, who's one of the props here.
Right.
Very tight player. How many times will she check that river anyway?
But again, now, if the guy bets into you, you just call the river.
Of
with
course.
8-10. Right, of course.
Where do you live?
Your hand's not strong enough to raise him.
Right, right.
What, are you going to raise him and then he 3-bets and then you got to throw it
Right,
away?
right.
I like the races by there, Garden City, Artichokes. There used to be a little place called the Cameo in Camino Real. It's probably gone now. Right? Little tiny club.
Button moves over here to seat 5, and seat 5 here,
I went up there.
that's Joseph. He's got ace-queen suited. He's going to jack it up here. Open raise from the button.
Menlo Park area. I was there for weeks. I played at Artichokes.
And you can see that Tony and Caden mucked queen 10 off suit. And it's interesting, Steven's going to defend here with queen 4 off suit. He is dominating.
Wow.
Ah, jack 9-5.
And you see the flop is completely missed. It's all diamonds. And you can see how often
Look at this.
people are
Steven's
just-
going to come out and bet here.
people are just defending their blinds with almost anything.
Well, you know what? I guess you can say he outplayed that guy and
Yeah.
he took it down.
Well, if you're playing against a player who's somewhat tight and somewhat predictable, sometimes you can defend more often than not, because if it comes out rags and you put them on ace-king or ace-queen, you can take a shot at it.
You can also check out pokerforever.com. Use the bonus code BIKE to get a 100% matching bonus. So check that out.
Poker Forever.
Poker Forever, the number 4.
Kind of cool. Hey, how can I get that Skype thing?
Oh, you can just go to
Skype.com?
Skype.com. It's free. Yeah.
Wow, Steven's got aces.
Yep. And we got a raise here by Tony Caden with ace-queen offsuit. And Steven's going to 3-bet here out of the small blind.
And Tony K is in bad shape. You can even see his queen of spades is dominated by the ace of spades. And he's going to need some sort of straight or...
6 bets to the flop here. Here we go. Well, you know, we got a bet here now. Is Tony going to take one off here? He's going to call, but like you said, he is in horrible shape because the spades aren't good for him. Turns at 3, and this is probably going to go fold now, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, now he's picked up a wheel draw. I mean, does he possibly think that that's good?
So he's going to take one off for a 5?
I don't know. I would be
and
really
hope it's
surprised.
not. And hope it's not a spade.
Yeah. And he folds. Steven takes it down with the aces there.
And that's one of the reasons why sometimes if you're going to play a hand in the small blind, and I'm a strong advocate for just throwing away those small blind hands. But one of the reasons why if you're going to play a hand in the small blind, you 3-bet it sometimes because you can represent that hand. And as long as your opponent misses,
right.
Well, hey, then you can keep driving forward.
Like you said, if Steven had an ace-jack there, both players missed, but he took it down. There's a lovely server. Andrew, we got pocket aces again here, this time for Dan. Seat number 2. And he is going to raise. Now, it's interesting. Steven's got 8-7 suited on the button. And he is going to make the...
I'm gambling. You're not.
Now, it's funny. 8-7 suited is a
Did
hand...
he 3-bet?
How much you want to bet on the side?
Can't tell there on the button.
Now, I just called... now, 8-7 suited, I will often call on the button in no-limit hold'em
Yeah, but-
if I'm deep and my opponent's deep.
But against a raiser like Dan
And
on
it's
the
Dan?
button? Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Limit hold'em, this hand is 8-7 suited is overrated in limit hold'em.
And Tony's going to call in the big blind here. And look at this, he flops a flush, but Dan's got the ace of spades in his hand.
5 of spades is no good, though, because that'll give Steven a straight flush.
Dan bets. Steven is going to slow play. He's just going to call. And here we go to the turn. Turns a queen. The interesting thing here is that Steven probably, now he's going to pop it up here. If he had raised the flop, Dan probably would have 3-bet him.
Yeah.
And then he could have raised the turn.
Exactly.
But instead he just called.
Dan probably would have shot out on the turn.
Yeah.
And then you can raise again.
Now Dan's staying in here. He's got the ace of spades in his
Yeah,
hand.
he's not going to go anywhere here.
$5 he might raise. $5 he might.
I think he's thinking about 3-betting. Certainly not thinking of folding, is he?
Well, he thinks the guy might have a pair and a spade draw.
Yeah.
He's just going to make the call. And here we go to the river here. And again, I want to go over this hand at the end here. Oh, the river's a 4.
Well,
That's
might,
definitely... And Dan's actually going to come out and bet
he
it.
puts him on king-queen. I guarantee you he put him on king-queen.
And Steven is now going to raise. And now can you fold aces here? The pot is just so big.
No, he's not going
He
to fold it.
3-bet it, Dave. He 3-bet with aces there, and Steven's going to take it down there with the flush.
Yeah, I really think that he put him on king-queen.
Yeah.
King-queen with the queen of spades, which is why he bumped it up. I mean, well, obviously 2 pair.
Yeah.
And obviously Dan thought the 4 on the river saved him.
I just think that if you're Steven, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's the way that I play. And again, I don't necessarily play a whole lot of limit hold'em, but I like raising with my monster hands on the flop, getting 3-bet, and then being able to call and then pop the turn. You get an extra bet and a half if you play it that way, right? As opposed to waiting and then just raising.
Yeah, you and I will butt heads once in a while on no limit because in no limit hold'em there are places to slow play.
Right.
In limit hold'em,
He's the only one that made no mistakes.
man, I mean, I so rarely, and I say so rarely, slow play in limit hold'em.
Well, Dan is saying that
I recognize that right off the bat.
he made mistakes there, but, I mean, Dan he did kind of overplay it a little bit, but... again, if I were Steven, I would have played the hand differently. Now we got pocket jacks here for Joseph. He's going to bring it in for a raise.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I like the bet on the river. I don't mind that. And then when you get raised,
Yeah,
I'm
I don't think you
you
can 3-bet it.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I definitely don't mind the bet on the river.
No,
it's probably just, and it's a call. I said, well, could you ever fold this? I mean, sometimes, again, I forget, it's limit hold'em, and you're not going to make a lot of money making big laydowns and limit hold'em.
And once in a while, you get somebody to 3-bet you with king-queen there because they think they have the nuts almost.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Obviously, you know it's not, but
well, the other thing that Dan might counter by saying is that, again, it's limit. He 3-bets unless he has the nut flush, which I have the ace of spades. There's no way he can cap it on the river, right? Can't cap it, right?
Well, the board paired on the river, so
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably thinking, man, unless this guy has kings full, he can't cap it.
Tonight to my daughter, so.
And obviously, heads up, there are no caps. You can go as long as you
We had
want.
a raise here by seat 6. Dan's got ace queen of diamonds here in the big blind. I would think that he's probably just going to call.
Now, this is a case where there's other players involved already.
Yeah.
I'd probably just call this.
Ramona made a smooth call, and Saif was the bring-in raiser with king 8 of clubs.
Although I will say, I don't mind bumping it up with ace-queen suited there just for value.
Jack 6-10 here, a couple hearts. Now Joseph has got second nut heart draw. And king 8 is going to make a continuation bet here.
And Ramona's probably going to raise this
Yeah,
up.
she's got king jack, pretty standard stuff right now.
Yep.
Now Dan has got a gut shot with overcards, but there are 2 hearts out there, Dave.
I don't think he's going to
For
chase this.
2 bets cold, you want to get involved,
No.
and he's not. Well, Joseph is going to call, and Saif is out of there.
And it's
He may-
heads up here.
Now the king would be no good here for Joseph because Ramona's got king jack, turns a 4.
You need a heart and only a heart.
Ramona's going to bet again here.
And that's the one thing about Limit Hold'em. It is correct for him to call this, and it is
Right.
correct for her to bet it. I mean, there's nothing either player can do about it.
Poker, you can't beat him.
This might go check here, Dave.
Yeah, and I don't mind this check as much because I'm thinking if he had the ace high flush draw, well, he got there.
Then the other thing, the other way you can come around there is if you have the ace high flush draw, you can bet because someone like if I had king jack and the guy came betting on that river, you have to call because there's more than 1 out of 15 times at that point that the guy might be trying to represent the nut flush draw
Exactly.
and just have a lower busted draw, right?
Definitely. It's also the reason why if you have an ace high flush draw,
Yeah.
you bet it. If you miss and you hit the ace
Yeah.
there, you bet it hoping a jack pays you off.
Right. Oh, absolutely. If you caught an ace there and you were on a dangling, say, ace 8, ace 9 because you're in there from the blind. But in fact, Joseph limped in with king 5 suited, dude. That was kind of surprising from up front. And he's going to bring it in for a raise. He's really opening, and he might be tilting a little bit. 8-6 off suit here.
But it's funny, oftentimes we'll get an email and people go, well, how do I get these people to stop drawing?
Right.
What do I do? There's nothing you can do. In Limit Hold'em, that's what the game is all about. The pot is too big for them to go away.
Every half an hour. More than half an hour. No, once an hour only, not every half.
Well, Joseph has made the continuation bet.
Once an hour only.
And again, it's interesting. Bozzy made the call with queen 3 suited. Maybe I'm missing something, Dave. I just, under the gun, I mean, people might say, well, you got to defend your blinds more, Bart. I just think you lose so much.
Cards never change.
Well, I mean, I'll throw a couple things at you. If you're always throwing away your blondes, your blondes. If you're always throwing away your blonde, go for your brunette. But if you're always
You're
throwing away
Asians.
yeah, exactly. If you're always throwing away your blinds, and good players recognize that,
Right.
well, then you're going to start getting raised a lot. And the only way to punish them is you're almost forced. If a player like you that does not defend their blinds,
Right.
I think you have to 3-bet your blinds more often.
We're going to take a look at the first chip count here of the night. Now, we'll keep track of this. Obviously, the stacks make no difference in Limit Hold'em. So this is what we're going to start off at here. Now, do we have differences as well right now? Okay, we have differences from when this game started. And this is where we're at. Well, Dan
With each action, the computer.
is up at 400. The game started at 6:30, Dave. So
On the spot.
So Dan obviously won a big pot before he lost that.
it's
big pot.
interesting how everyone is up and no one is down. I wonder if somebody left the table already that lost. Either that or the numbers are not accurate. The button moves over here to C3.
No, this is live at the bike math, okay?
Yeah.
Play enough hands. It's all represented.
You can buy the book,
I'm gonna throw away a missed flush draw.
kind of like algebra.
At some point in time, you're gonna throw away a missed flush
Played
draw.
on the side where I hit 3 full houses in a high-low game, and the guy
Buttons over there in C3.
I know Dan sometimes if he loses a couple of hands, he will rebuy.
Yeah, so
So
maybe
who knows? He might have thrown up $500 chip on the table without us knowing.
No. Ramona's got an ace-10 offsuit, and she's going to bring it in here
A lot
for
of
a raise.
Broadway out there, huh? Now, what do you think of ace-10 offsuit in middle position?
Well, I think that
Game
if you're
like
going to
this.
play it, you're going to bring it in for a raise, and
I
she
mean,
does.
Do you play it all the time, or do you throw it away often?
Tony's going to call here with ace-queen.
I mean, first position, I'll throw away ace-jack, ace-10, but at what point can you start playing ace-10? Middle position?
Now,
late
this is
position?
interesting. The button here posted dead, and he's going to make the call with ace-8 suited here because I believe he was posted behind. And we're going to see 5-way action, 10 small bets in the pot. Well, king 5 deuce here. Seat 4's got a king queen, and seat 4 is going to come out and bet. Seat 5 raises with king 9, and Ramona's going to call here with ace-10. She totally missed the flop, and Tony has missed as well with the ace-queen.
That's the one thing. If you raise with ace-10, you get called in this many spots. I mean, and you get raised. it's pretty obvious you're in bad shape, and you might even be drawing really slim. One of your opponents might have ace-5 or ace-king.
Wow, and we had a 3-bet and a cap by seat 5. 3-bet by Bozzy,
Wow.
and Joseph capped it with king 9, and Ramona's in there for 4 bets here on the flop. Oh, the turn's the case king.
Wow, and Boz is in great shape here.
And Bozzy's going to bet, and now Joseph shuts down. And Ramona's going to call. Wow.
Yeah, and Ramona is drawing dead, folks.
Yeah. Joseph needs a 9 and a 9 only here. Big pot. River's a 4.
Yeah, a 5 or a deuce would have chopped it up, which is why you see their percentage is not add up to 100%.
Yep. King Queen's going to take it down there.
Nice hand by Boz.
I think Joseph might have realized that he was up against a bigger king or, bottom full there, set, 5s,
Yeah.
deuces, something like that. It's a big hand. Big pot right there.
And the funny thing is, if you're playing in a hand like that, you go, okay, well, this guy's got a king. I have a king. Ramona, she must have hearts, right?
Right.
I mean, sometimes it's really hard to put a person, a player on a hand.
Button moves here.
Now, I know
to
you and I,
C4.
oftentimes, hands like king jack offsuit, ace jack offsuit in first position, you'll fold that, right?
Right.
Now, what my question was, at what point in a game like this will you play that hand?
Well, I think sometimes if you're playing just so tight, if you're playing against players that are paying attention, you might be able to bring a hand like ace-10 or ace-jack, in for a raise because you're going to get the king-queens and the other ace-jacks or the other, even ace-queens sometimes to fold. I mean, I can tell you, I know I have folded ace-queen. It's not common. Again, usually in live play, you're playing 8-handed, which is much different than internet play where you're playing 10-handed.
Yeah.
But, against a very, very tight, tough player like a Maury or like the John gentleman, who I'm talking
Right.
about. The
Yeah,
Asian
yeah,
guy
yeah.
with the
Yes, of
flat
course.
head. I will fold ace-queen to John's under the gun raise, ace-queen off.
Under the gun, yeah.
Because what am I really hoping that I'm at here with 2 overs? If not, I'm dominated, or he's got aces, kings, or queens, right?
Yeah, I mean, he might have jacks or tens.
But, I mean, I have to flop, and I'm not going to get paid off. It's probably
No.
going to go bet, raise, fold, right?
You're definitely not going to
Yeah.
get paid here.
Yeah.
Raise.
Raise here by Dan. He's going to bring it in with ace-jack offsuit, and Ryan 3-bets him here with 9s. Pretty standard. Late position raiser and a 3-bet with 9s.
You're trying to isolate there.
Yep.
Dan's got overcards. Ryan's probably about a 5% favorite over Dan right now, but that's only if Dan gets to see all 5 cards.
We can see one of the aces was dead in Bozzy's hand.
Now, this is what we always talk about. People always say, well, they're about 50-50. It's a coin flip. Well, not if Dan gets to see all the cards, though.
Dan just folds here.
Yeah.
Or I think, he's going to check fold there.
Thank you.
Ryan takes it down there with 9s.
I mean, against a player who will throw away ace-jack if they don't hit their hands, you're actually a big, big favorite with 9s. Because you're only going to see 3 cards.
Right. Absolutely.
I believe seat 7 has bought the button. Now, when you miss the blinds, you can actually, and you're in Steven's spot, which is 1 after the button, you can buy the button, and that way you're basically paying the small blind and the big blind. The small blind is dead and goes in the middle of the pot, and the big blind is live.
We got pocket 6s here for seat 5, it looks like. Now, Dan has ace-10. Let's see how he's going to play it, Dave. Ace-10 offsuit in seat 2. Here was your big question.
Yeah, and he's
There was one limper. He's going to limp after Tony limped. See? I wonder what he would have done if he was opening the pot.
yeah.
Now, Bozzy's going to limp now with 8-9 of hearts. Seat 5 here looked like he just made a limp with 6s.
Yeah, but seat number 6, though, Saif is going to raise it up with Queen Jack offsuit.
Yeah, on the button here. And we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way action here. 12 small bets.
Yeah, 6-way action times $40. It's a $240 pot, folks.
Queen Jack is driving it pre-flop. 8 deuce 5 here. Looks like Bozzy might have the best hand.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a higher pocket pair in the whole group.
And Bozzy's going to throw a bet out here. And the interesting, Joseph calls, Dave. I think that's a clear-cut raise or fold situation with pocket 6s.
I agree with you.
I mean, you've got to drive out ace, king, queen, jack behind you,
Well,
right?
you're hoping Bozzy is
Yeah.
betting a diamond draw here.
And he just called. The turn is a diamond. And Bozzy's going to bet here again.
I do not think
And
it's Dan
Joseph
still in
calls.
the hand. No, Dan is
No,
out
Dan
of
is
hand
not
against
in the
diamonds.
Joseph calls again with 6s here. He's picked up a draw. He's actually double-gutted to the 3 and to the 7. And Saif has got the jack of diamonds in his hand. He doesn't know if that's good with overcards. mean, you can see Bozzy's going to have to dodge about half the deck with one card to come to win against the collective cards of both other players here. And again, oftentimes people say, what a bad beat, what a bad beat. But remember, if you're in multi-way action, you're never going to be probably more than a huge favorite with one card to come,
Well, the funny
unless
thing
you've
is,
got a monster.
yeah, the funny thing is, if one of these players beats him and they turn their hand over, he's
Right.
going to be like, oh, man, I can't believe it.
Right.
But you can look at it, he's only 50% against both of them.
Right.
Good point you made there. Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You're watching Limit Hold'em, and the limits are 20-40 tonight, folks.
So Saif calls. Well, Bozzy's going to need to dodge a lot of
pot,
cards
folks.
here. Here we go to the river. And
Oh.
there you go. River's a queen, and Saif River's top pair.
And he's going to bet it.
No, well, Bozzy bet, and,
Oh,
and
okay.
Saif called.
Thank you. I thought he was checked it, so.
And there you go. I mean, that's
As
just
somebody
got some
even
of, some of the frustration there, again, like I said.
And you heard somebody even say, oh, my God.
Right.
And that's a big pot. I mean, we're talking about a $550 pot right there,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah, that's Limit Hold'em stacked up in kind of an interesting hand there. And the funny thing is here is that, again, Bozzy looks back at the hand. You almost want to slap Joseph next to you for not raising the flop, right?
Yeah.
Putt moves over here to seat 7. I mean, it's almost a case where if you raise in the pre-flop raise or 3-bet, you might either take one off or just fold at that point, right? I mean, you've got to really put the, try to figure out where you read him at.
Although oftentimes, if the pot is big enough in Limit Hold'em and you have a pair, can't you take one off
Right.
to try to hit trips or 2-pair?
But not a pocket pair because you're trying to hit a set. That's
No,
much
right,
differently. Much different.
I would, with all those players behind me, you have to act. I think the correct play by Joseph was actually the fold, 6s.
Joseph here, Bozzy brings this one in for a raise and Saif 3-bets. And now the players get to see kind of how Saif is played. Now, Tony TNT has got ace-king here in the blind. Now, he's got ace-king offsuit. He's probably just going to call here. Let's see what he does.
But he's going to get
Is
involved.
he going to cap it?
If he caps it, does Bozzy throw his hand away for 2 extra bets?
No, he's just going to call here, Dave.
Okay.
That's probably how I would play it, too, with ace-king.
I agree with you.
3-way action here.
Nice flop for queens, huh?
Saif is going to bet. Tony calls. And now with Tony calling, Bozzy might think, maybe Tony's got an ace-king or an ace-queen over there, and he folds. And Tony checks blind, and Saif bets blind. Turn to heart.
And Tony's in really bad shape here.
And Saif has the queen of hearts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Third hard out there, safe bets, Tony folds. And oftentimes, if there's a 2 flush out there, and I look down at my hand and I have ace-king, if I don't have the ace of hearts or the king of hearts,
Right.
I will often throw it away and not even take one off because I don't know if that one is good.
Right.
I hit the ace of hearts and I can't even play it hard.
Button moves over here to seat number 8. That's Ramona.
King Jack, yeah, with King of Hearts.
This game hasn't been ridiculously tight. We haven't even seen a chop yet, Dave.
No,
Yeah.
well, Saif has really kept the game going.
Yeah.
It's a nice mixture of a couple of pros, and a couple of amateurs.
Joseph is going to bring this one in for a raise with Jack 8 offsuit. Now I can see that Steven has pocket 7s over there, and he is just going to make the call. Well, yeah, again, I might 3-bet there or fold.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Because do you want to keep, and again, Tony calls a queen 3. Do you want to keep that hand around?
Now, you normally would think that Tony would throw away queen 3 there, but
Ace, king, deuce here. And no one's had any part of this. Now, if Steven had 3-bet, he could easily take this hand down, but Joseph makes the continuation bet, and now Steven's probably going to fold.
exactly.
There you go. If Steven had made the 3-bet, it probably would have went check, check, bet on the flop, fold, fold.
I mean, I got to tell you, see, no limit hold'em is a little more, I want to say, advanced in the sense that there are a lot of times where you want to smooth call players.
Right.
Smooth call with hands, keep pot small, so forth. There are a lot of different plays. In limit hold'em, I really, really subscribe to the theory of fold or raise.
I just said, I mean, again, we talk about 2 specific hands that you're supposedly supposed to cold call with, and that's it. You're supposed to either fold or re-raise everything else.
Yeah, I mean, and there are even times to raise with those hands if
Right.
you think your opponent is
Right.
trying to steal. Taking control of the pot and being the aggressor
Yeah.
is just
Ramona's going to pop it up here with pocket queens.
really surprised Tony Caden there in seat 1
Yeah.
actually calling the big
Yeah.
blind with queen 3.
It's amazing when we see some of the players what they defend their
It really
blinds with.
does, yeah.
Saif makes the call here with 6-5 offsuit after limping. Ace 9-3 here. Check, bet, probably fold, I would imagine.
I tell you, after I watch a little bit more Limit Hold'em, this might drive me to play a little more.
It's amazing, Dave.
Quiet. Everybody's talking.
And Ramona takes control of the pot and bets it and takes it down. Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. You're watching Limit Hold'em. Limits are 2040. You can watch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. You can also email us if you have any questions, criticisms, so forth. Email us at live@thebike.com. I like your avatar, 22 Skidoo on 2+2. If you want to follow a live thread, you can go to 2plus2.com and go to forums, go to World Poker Tour and other events, and then click on Live at the Bike for March 6th.
Were you happy about the fact that Crash won Best Picture over Brokeback Mountain?
I was. I thought. I still think. I saw Brokeback again, and I still think it sucks. I'm sorry. I actually thought it was a comedy. I think it's funny.
125 each. Souvenir.
But hey, that's just my 2 cents. I saw Crash, and Crash is fantastic. I really like Crash. Well acted, well directed. Good
Now,
story.
Saif has limped in here with the Jack-10 of clubs. You know, it's funny. I had this conversation with you way back when about this one specific hand. I was like, Dave, you limp in with Jack-10 suited, don't you, from up front? And you know, I remember when we were first propping, you were like, well, I guess it depends on the type of the game, but you said usually no, right?
I don't like to, like you were saying before, there's just not that many hands. I don't really want to open limp in Limit Hold'em.
Gets checked over to Saif, and he's going to bet with middle pair. It looks like he's going to take it down.
I mean, if I'm at a table with a bunch of passive calling stations,
Right.
Okay, that changes the game a little bit. I can limp in with Jack-10 suited. I can limp in with, Ace-Rag suited.
Well, the other hand also, Dave, I mean, when we start to talk about hands that you can cold call with, I will cold call with a small pocket pair if it's been raised and called in at least, say, 3 spots in between, 2 or 3 spots. And I'll also open my hands up that I'll cold call with. I'll call with a Jack-10 suited and a Queen-Jack suited and a King-Jack suited if there's a lot of people in there and I'm in late position. More for the drawing aspect of the hand, obviously.
I mean, let me throw this at you. What happens if you get 3 or 4 limpers and you're on the button with Jack-10 suited? Do you limp or do you raise there?
A lot of times you can raise there.
Yeah. And when you're raising, you're getting more money in the pot, but you're in control because you're in position.
Tony is raised here with pocket 9s,
Terrible. You don't need
and
one.
he's going to take it down. We're not going to see a flop here.
You play as crazy as I do. You don't need
Bud moves over here to seat 3. Hey, there's kind of James talking to Trish.
Trish.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Trish.
Mike's mother.
I have a crush on her.
You have a crush on Corporation Mom, Mike's
Yeah.
mom.
I do. Mike actually called me on it, too. So I'm always saying hi to her. He goes, man, you got to think for my mom or what?
Tony Gaden's got pocket kings here from seat 1. Steven is going to bring this one in with ace-jack offsuit under the gun.
Lost your bet. Right?
And again,
You lost your bet.
I've said this on the show before, Dave. Playing live, I will raise with this hand under the gun. I will raise with king-queen offsuit under the gun because you're usually playing 8-handed. 10-handed is different. Like I said, usually when you're playing online, you're playing
Said
10-handed.
king-queen.
King-queen off or ace-jack offsuit under the gun. Because you're usually playing 8-handed. Tony's going to 3-bet here. And again, right now we're playing 8-handed because usually one. Look at this, Steven's flop top 2.
cash player one of the best in the world.
And look at this, Steven is just going to check call. I think he's going for the check raise here, Dave. Turns a queen.
Yeah, but you know
Now
what?
Tony has the king of diamonds, and he bet again, and Tony's going to call. I was going to say, might you actually check there on the turn? Because now Tony had to pay 2 big bets, and the river here is a queen, and that kills Steven's hand. But ace-jack is good.
Yeah.
I guess Steven is one of those types. I was just never the type, Dave. I usually play my big hands fast. I mean, some people, I guess, wait around to check raise the turn. But again, if you start playing like that, I think your hand is just so predictable sometimes, you know?
Of course, I have to agree with you. I mean, I like to bet out on my bluffs. I like to
Right.
bet out on my made hands. It's the way to play the hands, to me. You have to also understand if you're going to bluff somebody, right? and let's say you're always check raising your big hands. Well, then when you want to bluff somebody, you almost have to check raise them because it's the only way they'll believe you, and you're committing an awful lot of chips to bluff in a bluff.
I play little connectors and suited. You don't have to tell me. I play a little bigger game.
6-7. Now we talk about suited connectors and limit hold'em. We have 6-7 suited in seat 4, and that's Bozzy. Dan has 3-4 of hearts. He's going to throw it away. Now Bozzy's going to open raise here in the cutoff seat with 6-7 suited, and this is how I like this play.
I learned my lesson. In the end,
And he takes it down.
And Bozzy does not call there with the suited connector, it looked like there.
Make them buy the book.
And again, in limit hold'em, Dave, as well, you never really... I've seen people limp and then fold to a raise, which I think is kind of stupid as well.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe someone to justify it, like, well, I limped with a big drawing hand, and then someone I know was really tight raised from back position, and I just didn't want to get involved. But I've never done that before.
I mean, with the money from the blinds and the
Yeah.
small blinds,
Yeah.
you're just getting too many. You're
Right.
getting like 4.5 to 1 on your money.
Right. Now look at the seat 4 is limped after an open limper. Both players open limp with ace 10 of clubs, open limp with limp after the open limp with ace 10 of spades. And seat 6 is going to raise here with jack 9 of hearts on the button. Seat 5 calls with 7-3 of diamonds and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way action. This is amazing.
Gotta love that look, huh?
Now, Tony calls with king-queen off from the big blind. I don't really have a problem with this. And look at this. Saif hits top pair here. He raised it with jack 9.
He's in great shape, too. I mean, nobody's really got anything.
And I got to tell you, if I had the rest of these players' hands, this should go bet fold everyone, right?
Definitely.
No one should call this bet.
I mean, the only thing you're wondering, okay, is the pot big enough if you're Joseph to take one off?
Oh, I didn't see that he had a pair there.
I wouldn't be in there at 3-7 in the
Right.
cutoff seat.
No, you
But
know,
if I'm in
Joseph can call. Well, seat 4 is going to call. Bozzy. He's got backdoor spades and a backdoor straight draw with overs. And look at this. He hits the ace on the turn.
there. Yep. Now, ace-10 would have hit the muck in a heartbeat, but 3-7, obviously, he's got 5 outs if he thinks his 2 pair is good.
And then Bozzy has to play it passively. He check calls the turn. And here we go to the river. The river here is a 5, and ace-10 is going to take this one down.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he figured that as one extra out. I mean, there were 10, I think there were about 10 small bets in the pot, and then it went bet 11. He was getting 11 to 1. He figured, you know, I have an overcard here. I have backdoor spades. I also have the possibility of a backdoor straight. I'm going to take one off with ace 10 of spades. I'm just trying to think.
We see that happen all the time. You just got to
Yeah.
be careful, obviously. He hit the ace and he couldn't play it aggressive, obviously. 'cause
Right.
He could easily be up against ace-jack.
Oh, absolutely. Then it kind of begs the question, what are you trying to hit if you're going to take one off with ace 10?
I mean, I guess the flop was 8-jack. 8-jack-3. I mean, I guess you want the 9 of spades there, which would give you open-ended with a flush draw.
Dan is going to bring this one in for a raise with pocket sevens. And we get a call here by seat 6 with ace-jack suited. Seat 5 calls with 10-9 suited. And seat 7 on the button, jacks, he's just going to call. And with a couple people in there, I don't necessarily mind that, Dave, because if you get a 3-bet, you're not going to drive anybody out with jacks.
Okay.
I mean, is that an automatic 3-bet for you on the button?
No, it's not
there?
automatic.
Yeah.
It's depending on the table, obviously.
Oh, ace, deuce, ace here. And 2 people have trip aces. Tony, Caden, and
Yeah.
Saif.
Now, this is normally a great spot for a jackpot possibility, folks, because obviously ace is full of jack, ace is full of 10s or better.
Now, this is interesting. Saif led.
Yeah.
The button raised, and Tony was thinking about it, but he's going to call with the ace-7. And Saif has played this pretty well. He's going to 3-bet it, and Steven's not giving him credit. And now Tony is in there with an inferior kicker.
Now, do you ever call with the jacks, hoping to hit a jackpot?
No, I don't. Oh, just for a jackpot, you mean? I see what you mean.
Well, I mean, another ace comes up, you got the jackpot.
Look at this. The turn card paired the board, and it saved Tony K, and this is probably going to be chop. But Steven's still in there.
Wow, I can't believe
And
it's
now
coming.
if you're Tony, I'm surprised that he didn't check raise against 2 players. He has an ace, right?
Yeah, wow.
Tony checks again, and they all call again. And again, why wouldn't you check raise there with ace-7?
But the only thing you're losing to is
I mean, again,
Ace-6.
I look at it, and it's like it's almost a value thing, right? You've got 2 other people in there. You have an ace. The only thing you lose to are pocket deuces
an ace-6.
and ace-6.
That's it.
I mean, if I played ace-7 in that manner and the turn card came deuce, this guy bets, the button calls. Don't you check raise there with the ace-7?
Yeah, you wouldn't. Let's say you were on the button
Right,
and you
right.
had the ace. You wouldn't raise it there because you don't want to drive that third
Right.
guy out.
But I'm saying Tony was in a perfect spot to check raise value, right? A couple times?
Yeah. Now, it was interestingly played by Steven. I mean, I guess in the flop, he doesn't want to give anybody credit for playing their hand that strong. But on the turn, how do you continue calling with jacks? You know, one of these players has got to be telling the truth, right?
I don't know.
I mean, the flop is ace, deuce. What do you think Tony's in there with?
I'm a little bit surprised that Tony never made almost a case where I never get involved because I usually bet my hands out, kind of like a check raise value.
Yeah, now let me ask you this. We always talk about getting rid of possibly trip aces.
Right.
Like in a flop like that in a no-limit game. Can you get rid of it in limit or no? You're basically paying to the river.
Well, I mean, I'm usually not in there with ace-7.
Right.
Even in the blinds. I got to be honest with you. If the pot is raised pre-flop and 4 or 5 or 6-way action, that's more of a reason why I fold ace-7 in the big blind. Right? I mean, do you stay in there with ace-7 in the big blind?
It depends on how many people call. It depends if I'm suited or not, obviously. Not usually. It's a hand I don't really want to get involved with. I figure somebody's got a bigger ace than me.
4-way action here. 3, 5, 6.
Tony's open-ended with the 8-4. He's actually not in the hand. I apologize.
There were 2 king of diamonds in the deck, and nobody knew it until
We had
it
a-
came up on 2 hands.
Seat 2 bet here and seat 5 raised.
Yeah, Dan bet with second pair, and Joseph actually raised him with 6-8.
Yeah. And the turn is a 3, and now Dan checks and Joseph bets again. Looks like Dan might get away from this. Steven is not in the hand.
Yeah, Dan's in bad shape here, obviously, because we see they share the 8. Dan needs a 5, and only a 5, folks.
Well, he's going to make the call. Rivers a 7.
Does not save him there.
No.
There's a one-liner to a straight, and imagine he's going to check here. It does.
6 is good.
And that's one case where I do not mind a check at all. You know, you figure maybe my opponent is either calling me with a bigger 6, or my opponent might be calling me with a 4. Either way, 8-6, I'm going to check it down.
Yeah.
Button moves over to the seat 1. Small blind is Dan in seat 2. Big blind is Ryan in seat 3. And the first to act under the gun, that is Bozzy.
You know, I think Dan is Dan married to one of our, used to be our high limit mix
Yeah, I don't know if
props?
he's married or not,
Our
but
girlfriend
he is.
with, what's her name?
Day.
Day, that's right.
Day who
Plays the
plays
60 mix game.
sweet
and stuff.
Asian lady who plays high mix games.
Well, there's a wedding Dan, right? Isn't that what I mean?
I guess he's married.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a raise here by seat 7 here with ace jack suited.
Look at that camera work, man. You say it, boom,
Yeah.
right there.
Again, Bozzy made an open limp with ace-10 of clubs. Steven raised. Tony Caden is going to call with a gap-suited connector here on the button. And we're going to see 4-way action here.
$160 pot.
Jack 10-9 here. Steven's got top pair, and he's going to lead with it with the ace-jack. Tony quickly mucks.
Tony's open-ended there, but he doesn't want to get involved. He's the bottom side of it.
Right.
There's 2 diamonds out there.
3 bets.
And Ryan made a check raise, and Steven 3-bet him.
Steven's in great shape here.
Turns a deuce. Well, that's a diamond.
You know, Ryan has now picked up a
And
diamond.
it goes
draw.
check, check here, Dave, and the river's a 5. And now Ryan bets, and Steven calls. And ace-jack is going to take it down. Again, oftentimes, we've seen this a couple of times with players who might, feel like that, with Steven there, I might actually bet the turn if I didn't have a diamond in my hand as opposed to checking the turn behind. Because, again, I don't want to let a free card come and lose to any ragged diamond. But in that case there, he checked the turn, got the guy to bet, and then made the call. Kind of checked to induce the bluff or, what have you.
I mean, that's one of the only times I'll slow play in a limit game is if I'm playing against a pretty aggressive player
Right.
who I'm pretty sure they have nothing. Sometimes I will check the turn behind them to induce the bluff on the river. But it's a play I don't use very often. Pocket queens for Ryan there.
That's a play that I almost never make, I got to be
Really?
honest with you. Checking the turn to induce a bluff. Because usually, those types of players are usually going to call with anything anyway.
No.
So
I'm talking about a player who's pretty good but is aggressive. It's actually the opposite. I'm not talking
Wow.
about. I'm talking about
You
a player.
point me to that person that plays here at the bike. Yeah, we're going to see a 3-bet here by Ryan. Most of the players that I respect.
I'm actually talking about a player like you. No, I'm being serious. A good player
Yeah.
who I don't think you have anything, so I think you'll probably throw it away if I bet the turn. But if I check it, you might take a shot at it.
We got 3-bet here on the flop, and Ryan's got the best hand here with queens. And Ryan is going to check it, and it gets
Wow.
checked around.
That's something I'll never do.
Well, I think that maybe somebody might have 3-bet there. I couldn't quite tell.
Saif did.
Saif 3-bet, so Ryan played a little cautiously, and then when it got checked around, now he leads. Ryan leads, and Bozzy is going to call with top pair here, and he's got a straight draw to the 9. And the river is a deuce. And I think these two are friends, so they're not going to bet the river, but queens are going to take it down there.
And Ryan survives.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, though, if I get 3-bet, and I have queens, I get 3-bet, so I decide to smooth call, and the flop comes out 8 high, I'm going to bet and see if I get raised.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let a free card come off,
Well,
especially with
you
that kind of
also,
flop.
you also sometimes limit hold'em. Even if the other guy you think might have you beat, you're supposed to bet in because even betting when you know you're behind gives you the chance of possibly winning the hand later on because he's going to raise and drive out very hands that are vulnerable to or hands that can beat you if an overcard comes on the turn.
Oh,
on the
exactly.
river.
You're hoping he has ace-king.
Right.
You bet with your queens. You're hoping the ace-king raises and drives out, like, maybe some dangling 10.
Now Bossy's got trip queens. Pocket queens here.
Some dangling gut shot straight draw,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Steven Limson was
Yeah,
7
queens are like
offsuit.
going around. Are the cards glued together or something?
TNT, we need to see his hand over there in seat 9. He's got
Jack, ace.
ace, jack offsuit, ace of diamonds, jack of hearts. And Bozzy here looks like he's going to 3-bet. And he does. And now obviously Steven is going to muck the 7-8, and Tony is going to call.
No. I lost it.
So Tony's got position on Bozzy here. Here we go to the flop. 10-6-5. Now again, you say, Dave, you might not even take one off here against Bozzy. A red ace jack,
No,
10-6-5.
there's no way I
two
take
clubs.
one off. I just throw it away.
Turns a 9.
It's an easy just muck. Ace jack. What can I beat?
Yeah.
I can't beat ace king. I can't beat ace queen. I can't beat anything. And if I hit my
He's
ace or
going
my
to call again, Dave.
and if I hit my ace or my jack, I don't even know if I'm good.
River's a 5. Bozzy bets again, and Tony pays him off the whole way. And again, you couldn't beat ace king or ace king.
But you can't beat ace king. You can't beat ace queen. You can't beat ace jack.
Yeah.
You can only tie that. You can't even beat ace 10 or ace 9 now. What are you beating? Ace 8? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Tony's a good player too, but that's just, calling somebody down with ace jack there, I just don't understand the play.
Look at this post right here on 2+2 by Jaybert. I think if you can hook up with Trish, this is talking to Barry Woods, you'll have infinite tilt, positive expected value from Corporation Mike. Positive EV.
No, see, I didn't say that in disrespect.
No, but he's talking about
Yeah, I know, I
Barry.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually more of talking. He actually goes on. He goes. You already have the getting the positive massage jealous husband EV from Tuck. Might as well take it a step further. I actually say it in all respect. I think Trish is an absolutely wonderful lady. I don't really know her that well, to be honest, but she seems really great.
Heads up here.
Steven's got a monster here.
6-7, and it goes check here,
Well, Steven's there. He's got a straight.
and now he's going to bet. Ramona did not bet with the ace king.
Yeah, and I think Steven was looking for the old check raise, right? The funniest thing is that if Steven bets the flop,
Ramona might, not only might you get a call from Ramona, which
she's not
is
even raise.
an extra bet there as well.
Who knows?
Plus, you give her a free card, and if an ace comes or a king comes, your hand is no longer good. Interesting post here by Demon Deke on 2+2. Tuck saw broke back twice. That's a questionable pre-flop play.
I gotta defend myself. The first time I watched it was actually Christmas Eve. And I saw the first 45 minutes. And I thought it was so laughably bad that we turned it off. We couldn't watch it anymore. And since I'm in the entertainment business and my wife is as well, and it was getting all this plug about how being so good and everything, I actually read the script. I thought the script was extremely well written. And that got me more into it. I was like, you know what, let me go see it again. Maybe it just wasn't the night.
When did
for
you
me to
see it again?
A couple days ago.
Oh, yeah.
And
You saw it with your wife?
yeah, we watched it. We actually watched it again at home.
Oh, yeah.
And we laughed our way through the entire thing.
Email here from John Alden. I know you guys really stress betting a lot in every street when you have a monster hand. How do you guys feel about check calling against a real aggressive player like Saif, who's going to keep betting to set up a raise on the turn, which is a more expensive street? We kind of covered that a little bit.
Yeah.
We had a raise here by seat 4 with pocket 4s, and a 3-bet by Ramona with pocket 10s in the blind. Steven's in between with queen 7 of clubs, and he's in there for 3 bets in the small blind.
And Bozzy's flopped a set of 4s.
Yep. Ramona leads. Let's see how Bozzy plays it. He's going to pop it up right on the flop.
Now, you imagine Ramona can get away from this pretty easily because there's a king out there. And I like the raise by
she's gonna
Bozzy.
call.
He's hoping that Ramona's got ace king.
Turns a 7 here.
Yeah, neither player has a heart.
And Ramona might pay him off the whole way. And again, the reason for that is ace king. You know, someone might come and 3-bet you. You can call and then pop him on the turn. Here we go to the river. River's a 7. Bozzy fills up.
And Bozzy's going to continue
And
betting.
Ramona's going to pay him off the whole.
And we talk about it all the time. There's no point in slow playing because you get paid off almost
Right.
the whole way.
Yes, you're right.
Now, Ramona, I don't mind calling the flop. Okay, you get raised, you call one time, maybe the guy's got a heart draw.
Right.
But when the heart hits the turn, now you can't beat a king or
Right.
you can't beat hearts. You can't beat anything anymore.
Right.
Time to throw away the 10s.
I was surprised that TNT called that guy all the way down with ace jack, like you said, Dave.
Really surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like seat 4 has gotten out of line. Not like Bozzy's gotten out of line. And look at this. Now we got about $7,000 on the table. How many chips everybody has.
So let's look at the differences now. Saif up 500. Steven up 500. Well, we're getting worried that Bozzy now, because of the last 2 hands, he's probably the table leader now.
Yeah, he's probably up about
now,
700.
Yeah, now they're 4 or 500 now.
Limit Hold'em. A whole different animal.
The sport of kings. Sorry, I didn't mean to scoff.
That board with pocket 10s.
I mean, you can't really. I mean, Limit Hold'em's a great living.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
rarely are you going to have a $20,000 a month playing this kind of game.
Yeah.
But it's a grind, and if you're a good player, you definitely can beat these games for a pretty good amount.
We got 3-way action here. I think we had a raise by Saif, and he's flopped a pretty nice flop here. 8-6-6 with 2 diamonds.
That's another time. If you're Tony, would you even take one off?
Well, Tony's going to raise. He's going to check raise, and Saif makes it 3 bets. Turns a 6. Tony checks, and Saif bets again. And Tony now is going to continue to call with ace-9. And Saif needs a diamond, a queen, or a 10, and it's a queen, and he can easily beat. And Tony's going to check raise here. And Saif is going to 3-bet, and Tony pays him off with ace-9. Saif made it 3 bets on the river, and Tony paid it off.
Well,
Tony check raised the river.
You know,
Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, we got the cards up wrong. God damn it. Jesus. Get me all. Unbelievable.
wait, but still though, Tony had king, queen of clubs.
Yeah, again, I mean, at least he check raised the river there with top full house.
But what is he doing the whole hand? King, queen of clubs? And they chop it up. How are you in there the entire way with king, queen of clubs?
I have no idea. I mean, he check raised the flop. Saif made it 3 bets. The turn came 6, so he's still in there with king, queen with the board 8-6-6-6 with 2 diamonds. And then the river comes queen, and he check raises with the queen. That's
Saif 3 bets.
Yeah.
You know the interesting thing I'm wondering here. I mean, it's Tony TNT, right? Man.
Wow, that is crazy.
Is he tilting here or what?
Again, it was king, queen of clubs, but still kind of a crazy hand anyways.
Do apologize for that. Once again, we are live, unedited, unscripted. Once in a while, we do make a mistake.
I think Tony might be steaming a little bit here.
You think?
Saif is going to raise it up again. He's got ace-jack, and he's really driving the table here.
Well, he's got the table on tilt, the whole table.
Tony TNT, Caden with pocket 6s. Tony's in there with TNT's in there with king 8. And ace-jack is flop top pair. Saif's got the best hand.
Yep. And look at Tony. Tony takes one off with king 8 of hearts, folks.
And Tony Caden calls with pocket 6s here.
Okay, well, Tony Caden's got he's got 6s, a little different here. But Tony TNT here, king 8 of hearts.
Turns an ace, and now Tony TNT has got the nut flush draw.
Yeah.
But Saif has made top 2 pair, and Tony TNT's gonna call here, and this would be a horrible beat with backdoor hearts, and there they are, backdoor hearts. Are you kidding me? And he might check raise here again.
He is
And he
going-
does. This is unbelievable.
This is
This
insane.
is unbelievable. He makes backdoor hearts. You look at that flop, Dave, and you start sitting to yourself, and you're looking, and I have ace jack, and he's in there with king 8 of hearts on the flop.
You know, it's funny. Your original, when we first started the show, you said, you know, when I first started playing with Tony, Tony,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, I really thought he was kind of one of the live ones.
Yeah.
What do you think now?
Yeah, again, this show always changes my...
Man, I got to tell you, I feel bad, too, because Tony TNT, after he finished, I want to say 5th or 6th place
Right.
in that limit event at the World Series, and he took in $60,000, he actually took me out to breakfast the next morning at the Bellagio.
Yeah.
And we had a nice conversation and everything. And I was like, I offered to pay, and he was like, no, I just want money. I was like, I'll pay. And he took me. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
wow, that's
yeah.
very nice of you. So I hate to rag on him,
2 ace kings here. Ace king of diamonds.
but he's playing like a donkey right now. He really is. I don't know what he's thinking.
Everybody dance now. Oh, fine.
Wow, look at this. We got a raise out of seat 4, and that's Boz.
And Steven's going to 3-bet with ace king offsuit here.
And they're protecting each other's hands.
My friend, any day you want to play heads up, we'll go play heads up. Anytime.
And yeah, I think Tony's just out to get Saif. That's kind of what it is.
It is, but
Yeah.
you can't do that in a poker game, folks. Leave your ego at the door. And Tony knows better than that.
Okay. I'm the worst.
Flop
player.
has missed both players, which is pretty obvious here.
The worst player.
And we get a bet by Steven and a call by Boz.
I thought I was the worst player.
E?
I'm the biggest loser. I got to be the worst player.
Steven's going to continue to bet here. And as you can tell, the betting lead, very important in this game.
Yeah, both players have the hand, same
Right.
hands, but Steven's got position, plus he 3-bet the pre-flop.
Yeah. Boy, that's a bad, horrible ace-jack against king 8 of hearts.
Yeah.
Boy, I wonder if you type that into the Pokulator, Dave, what the odds of that hand after the flop would be.
It was funny, obviously, we had other hands involved, so we couldn't get it heads up.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Oh, man.
The flop was jack 3-3.
With 1 heart.
Now, he had king 8 there, and obviously he could have got a king as well.
Right.
But once
That's
the
true.
ace,
That is a little different
But once the
than Sam
ace
over-
hit, though, it really was...
Yeah, he went. How about on the turn? Yeah.
Yeah, on the turn, he's obviously
He's
only
got the heart outs. Yeah.
That's it.
That's amazing. Check raise the river.
The thing you wonder, though, is, I mean, Tony knows better than, you know, when you walk into a casino, oftentimes you'll get mad at some player. You cannot look to try to get that person's chips. Well, not if you want to be successful.
Right.
Go, Tony. It's your first day.
And I think he wants to play him heads up.
Yeah.
Man, he looks like De Niro in The Untouchables.
We're gonna raise here by Saif with ace-6 offsuit. Ramona calls it the ace-3. Pocket 9's in there, and Ryan's in there with queen-4 suited in the blind.
And Dan's hand is still good. Hard for him to know that, though. Bad flop for him.
He got checked around. Let's see if he leads now on the turn, and he is going to lead on the turn.
Yeah, Ramona's picked up a wheel draw. See if she calls.
No, she's not gonna call.
No.
And he takes it down.
Right.
Unbelievable.
And you'll see a pro like Dan, you won't see him getting swayed by all this crazy action. You ever see The Untouchables?
Yes.
Isn't that great? I love that one scene. I want him dead. I want his house burned to the ground. I love that.
Look at this, Russ McGinley. Brokeback Mountain, much, much greater than Crash. Oh. You remember when Russ McGinley was in here, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Hey, I know a lot of people who love the movie. It's one of the reasons I wanted to see it a second time. You know, I read the script. I love the script.
I've
actually glad
I've
they
met
won.
some crazy people from Northern Florida. Actually, everyone I've met from Northern Florida is pretty crazy. Yeah.
Northern Florida? Come on.
We get a raise here by seat 7. Tony's in there with ace. Actually, we got two limpers here. 4-way action here.
How many times?
Oh, they can see.
You're like my 15-year-old son. How many times you got to be told?
10-8-6 here, a couple spades. Steven here is going to lead with overcards and a gut shot.
Yeah, now if Steven had a spade in his hand, I'd like his hand a little bit better. But without a spade in his hand, he doesn't know if the queen of spades or the jack of spades is good.
And Ryan check raises, and Tony's in there with a gut shot without spades, with ace-9. He takes one off on the flop. Here we go to the turn. Turns a 10. Now Ryan's got trip 10s, and he's going to lead again here. Steven folds.
Is Ryan going to call? Is Tony going to call going for the 7?
I forget what I have. You sound surprised.
Not this time.
I guarantee you, if that was Saif with the
Oh,
Jack 10,
of course, with the
TNT's
with
gonna
the
stay in
overcard,
there.
of course.
Yeah. Man. Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Zuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're watching Limit Hold'em. Limits are 20 and 40, so the blinds are 10 and 20. And it's $20 on the pre-flop, then $20 on the flop, and then it's $40 bet on the turn and the river. One of the reasons why I'm really a big advocate for value betting is you realize you have two $20 bets and two $40 bet streets. And if you're never betting the river unless you have a monster, well, you're really giving up a lot of the equity in your hands. You start adding up all those value bets you miss. Couple of limpers here. Tony limps in with ace-5 offsuit. And the button, seat number 3 there, Ryan's going to limp in as well. The flop is ace-king-10, folks, 2 clubs. And the best hand is actually Tony, and he's going to bet it. He's got ace-5, TNT there. Seat 5, Joseph is going to call. He's got second pair, but he's badly dominated because you can see he has king-5, and Saif is going to call with jack-8 of spades. He had a gut shot straight draw plus backdoor flush. 2 of clubs on the turn here. Nobody has a club. And they're going to check it over to Tony, and Tony's going to bet. And imagine he's going to take this down. He does. Shows the ace. Takes it down. Now, I'll tell you, I mean, when TNT got to the final table at the World Series, I bet my ass that he did not steam like that to get there. There's no way. You just can't do that for a day. You can't steam like that and expect to get to a final table.
That's the beauty of the game.
Once again, you can email us with any questions, comments, concerns at live@thebike.com.
One guy said I had a tell
Button is in
the
seat
other
4.
on the website.
Gets over to Tony in seat 9, and he's going to raise it up here. Can't see his hand.
Because I kind of made a wobbly bet, and he said, "What?"
And he's got 6-5 of hearts, and he's open raises here, and kind of early to mid position. And he's clearly just raising Saif's blind. I mean, it's so obvious. He is raising in early position just to get a heads up with Saif.
Well, he's got it heads up, and we're Jack 10 against 6-5 suited here. Here we
And
go.
Saif is a favorite. Well,
Tony's got a flush draw. Saif's got a gut shot to the queen.
well, Tony's flopped a monster. He's got a pair with his flush draw.
Yeah, he's got a huge hand here. King 9-6. Here we go to the turn. Turn is another 9.
Yeah. And Saif's going to check, and I imagine Tony's probably going to bet this.
No, he's going to take
he's
the
gonna
card.
take the card, okay.
Here we go to the river.
Oh, man.
River's a jack, and Saif comes out and bets.
Man, I got to tell you, why don't you bet that if you're Tony? Think about it. If the guy had a king, wouldn't he raise the flop? Tony, I'm not sure. Saif
And
might
he's
have
going to
called.
pay him off.
Saif might have called anyway.
Yeah. Let's see if that puts. Yep, it says Jack is good, and Jack is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, there's no way you can check that turn, not in my estimation.
No, can't put necessarily the guy on 9. On 9.
You put him on. I don't mind betting it. Then he's going to raise you, throw it away.
Yeah, but you got a heart draw though. Sometimes you might want to take that card so you don't get check raised. Because if you get check raised, Dave, you have to call with your heart draw, don't you?
I guess. I just don't want to. I don't want to get a free card let off there.
Well, yeah, there obviously are a lot of cards that can hurt you.
Yeah.
Button moves over here, seat 5.
I mean, I just don't want to play the game in fear of always being check raised. I'd rather bet it and see where I'm at. I don't want to check it and let somebody get there. I mean, that just kills me. I mean, it's a little bit different in no limit hold'em, because the betting is so big, obviously.
You're taking a break? Me too.
And they're going to chop this one up here, Dave. Chop the blinds for the first time tonight, it looks like. Dave, can you rub your stomach like you did on Friday? I think they were referring to Dimitri. You were kind of mimicking Dimitri. Rub your stomach. It gives me a broke back moment when you do.
A little more information than we need to know. but
I
thank
wish
you for
I
sharing.
could quit you at Live at the Bike. I wish I could quit you live at the bike. Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. You can also follow a live thread started on the internet. Go to 2plus2.com. Spelled out, click on forums. World Poker Tour, etc. under Tournament Poker. Official Live the Bike thread for March 6th.
Button is in seat 6. Tony's gotten up from the game. And this is what you talk about. Even though it's a full game, we're playing it 7-handed.
Get that?
Don't forget to Skype us, folks. You can leave a voice message. Go to Skype.com and leave a voice message for me or Bart.
Yes, Skype us.
Yeah, you can download a free Skype account and use your computer to leave a message for us at Live at the Bike.
Oh, Tony's going to be leaving, Dave. He was driving some of the action here ttonight.
Tell him where he got it.
We're going to be heads up here. 6-6-9. Joseph's in there with King 9. 9-5 for Steven. Steve 5 bet is going to bet, and Steven is going to call here again with the inferior 9. And he's in real bad shape. River's an ace. And Joseph bets again.
Yeah.
And Steven pays him off. That's unbelievable to get a bet with the 9 there and get paid off.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the bet there. That's $40 earned by Joseph.
Well,
Well done.
value bet against a guy. You just put a guy on a weaker 9, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, you know what? They're going to chop it up because the river was an ace, Dave.
Oh, man.
So he bet it,
So obviously-
hoping trying to get the guy off of a chop.
They both have 9s and 6s with
Right.
an ace kicker. Thank
Right.
you. But I think if the river is a blank, I still think
Right.
that Steven pays him off. Maybe I'm wrong, but
You know, and the funny thing is people keep writing into us and saying, boy, how do we find donkeys like this in our limit games? If I were to look at this table from what I saw, this might not necessarily, now from what I've seen now, I think it's a good table, but if I looked at the lineup, Dave, it's not necessarily a lineup I might say, oh, I'm going to hop into, it's a great game.
no, not at
You
all.
know?
Oftentimes people come on the show and you don't know how
Right.
they play until you see them on the show. Oftentimes you can't generalize how a player plays by one session also. Oftentimes you'll see somebody play one time, and you never know. I mean, you wonder if TNT just had a bad day today. I don't know.
Got a raise here by seat 5.
And this
safe calls here, and we can't see seat 5's hand, and Dan is in there with 8-9 of hearts. Well, we can, and it goes checked around here, 6-4-3.
Yeah, Dan decided to defend his blind with 8-9 suited here, and he's picked up a straight draw.
Well, now 9-10 is going to bet. That's what seat 5 has, 9-10.
Actually, Dan
No,
bet.
Dan bet,
yeah.
and actually seat 5 called, not Saif.
And is Dan going to bet again here? No.
The river's a 6.
Dan is not going to bet the 8-9, and Joseph's going to win this with 10 high.
Yep,
Man. Now, Dan bet the turn, try to pick it up,
yep.
and when he got called by seat number 5, he shut down on the river.
Well, oftentimes you'll see players do that, kind of make that.
Yeah.
Like,
He tried it once and
Yeah.
said, forget it. This guy wants to have a pair. I don't want to throw more money out there.
got a new player coming into seat 9 here. We'll get confirmation whether it's Craig or Greg. I just got 2 separate answers at the same time. Button moves over here to seat 1.
I mean, one thing's for sure, his name is definitely not Gary.
Right. It is Craig.
Craig with a C,
And he is posted here in seat 9.
posted behind the button.
And we're going to see a raise here by seat 5. Again, we can't see both of his cards. He's got pocket kings here. Steven is going to call him with ace-8 suited. And the blind is in there with jack-9 of clubs.
Open call with ace-8 suited.
Yeah, here we go. 3-way action. Ace-7-10. And ace-8 of spades is the best hand. How could he possibly know it? Joseph is going to bet here with the kings, with the king of hearts, and ace-8 of spades raises. Joseph calls. Again, we're in there with kings and ace-8. And actually, excuse me, Joseph's 3-bet it. And Steven calls. Wow. Amazing. And is he going to call all the way with the ace-8? Well, now Joseph checks.
And Steven checks.
And the river's a heart, and Joseph's going to bet here with the heart.
And is Steven going to pay him off here with just an ace? He's got aces up. No, he's not going to pay him off.
I've actually seen that move a lot where somebody either check raises the flop from up front or 3-bets the flop from up front and then checks the turn, and it's almost like the guy from out back gets scared and kind of gives him a reverse free card.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Scared that he might get check raised again.
Yeah.
And you can see there, Steven gave him the free card, and the free card got there. Obviously, it was incorrect to check the turn.
Was it incorrect to check the turn with ace-8?
Of course it was. Well, I mean, if you know exactly, I mean, if you're talking about poker,
Right,
theory
I'm
and
just-
poker,
I'm just
and you
saying,
know exactly
yeah.
what he has.
Right.
I think it was incorrect to call ace-8 in the
Right,
first place.
right.
I mean, I'm not open calling raises with ace-8 suited. I mean, ace-8 suited, I'm not even raising myself.
Fabrice busted very early.
Seat 6 is going to raise here.
Yeah.
We get a call here.
He went very quick.
And we're heads up. Queen Jack against ace-7. 8-7 deuce. Saif's got the best hand. He bets. Bozzy, Mux. Post here from Ripwalk. He says, Bart, I was looking at your MySpace profile. It says you're a big Red Sox fan. What do you think of them this year? Well, I think that their pitching staff is kind of somewhat decimated, Dave.
Really?
And
They brought in Josh Beckett. I thought you'd be excited about that.
well, I am excited about that, but I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this year in particular. Now, he also said that, what do you think about the Blue Jays? And the funny thing about the Blue Jays, and specifically the Orioles, I mean, obviously, I've lived in the AL East my whole life. You know, the Blue Jays had their years in the early 90s, and the Orioles are always supposed to be good, Dave. And
The Orioles suck. The Orioles are awful this year.
Yeah, and they never... Well, I'm not saying particularly this
Oh,
year,
okay.
but just traditionally.
Yeah.
You know?
The Blue Jays might be good. I mean, I actually like the Red Sox. They brought in Josh Beckett. Kurt Schilling's supposedly healthy now.
And you know what, though? Kurt Schilling, supposedly healthy. You never know. I mean, I had heard, though, that he wasn't coming back in the beginning of the season, that they were going to start him later on to kind of save him, kind of like a Roger Clemens-esque
Really?
type thing, yeah.
Sounds like a moneymaker. He made the wrong move about 7 times, but he hit the hand.
Yeah, Ryan raised it up here with ace-queen offsuit. We got 3 callers, including Craig with ace-8 offsuit in late position. Open calling our raise there.
Jack deuce 3 here.
Everybody's missed the flop completely. Ryan is still in the lead, and he's going to bet on the button. And he takes it down. Power of position. Now, he actually had the best hand there, but he did not need the best hand. He just needed his opponents to miss.
I actually had a nightmare, and I'm not making a joke. I was serious. I had a nightmare regarding football. A couple of nights ago, I had dreamed that Tom Brady had left the Patriots, and the Patriots had picked up Drew Bledsoe.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say it was a nightmare that Tom Brady left the Patriots to go cattle ranching in Wyoming with Heath Ledger.
That's like $8,000. I raised him to $36,000.
Hey, do you know? I hear actually that the the NFL labor problems are all because of your stupid owner, Robert Kraft.
I bet like 15,000.
Those are the rumor mills going on.
Yeah, but specifically what about like revenue sharing?
Exactly.
And such? Yeah. Why? Because the Patriots are bringing in so money, he doesn't want to share.
Yeah, he's a big fat ass. He doesn't want his money.
Raise here on the button. Well, if you take a look at the NFL and you take a look at baseball, you have to think that the NFL is actually set up better. I mean, I'm all one for capitalism, but I mean, baseball is all about market size now, isn't it? Pretty much.
Of course.
Ace 10-5 here, a couple spades.
Boz, he's got the best hand, and he's got a gut shot. Let's see if he bets it, and he does on the button. Power position once again.
And again, Joseph made a cold call, 2 bets in the small line with queen deuce suited.
And you can see how dominant he is. If he hits a queen, he's going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, people have always said that a capitalism thing, and I'm a big fan of capitalism as well. But the one thing that's weird is, in football, it seems like they consider all of football one business, and those are separate entities in that business.
And baseball is really considered a bunch of different markets, which are totally independent of each other.
Yeah, you can see how
right.
football has flourished over the last 15 years, and baseball's problems.
But again, I don't necessarily I think you're almost comparing apples to oranges when you compare the two leagues, just because the amount of games that baseball has.
Of course. I think you're right there. I just think that baseball has problems because there is no real revenue sharing, and because you've got the Yankees payroll is like $230 million, and the Kansas City Royals payroll is like $30 million.
$40 million.
I mean, it's like
right.
I mean, the Yankees AAA payroll might be higher than the Royals payroll.
Three-way action here. 6-4-3, couple hearts.
Did you have a 7 of spades or?
Ramona's going to bet here with second pair. I like the bet. She looks at a flop like that and she figures a good chance nobody's hit it. I'm going to take a shot at it with second pair, and she's going to take this down. Nice bet by Ramona. It's one of those things in limit hold'em. You can't always wait for the nuts, obviously, to play a hand.
Right.
Use the power position.
You're a big-time fantasy baseball guy, right? Aren't
Well,
you?
more fantasy football, but I do play fantasy baseball
Right.
also, unfortunately. My friends, because I'm not a big baseball fan, my friends have suckered me into it a couple of years ago. So I'm in some stupid league. Actually, our draft is in like in 3 weeks. I need help. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Button moves over here to seat 6. Ace-King suited here for Tony K. He's going to bring it in for a raise. Interesting hands here. We got King-Queen suited in seat 5. In seat 4's got King-Jack. Let's see what he's going to do.
Let's see if
Ozzy's got King-Jack suited.
Now, this is it. I think this is a fold. And I think you agree.
And there you go.
Great fold by Bozzy.
Yeah, to Tony K's under-the-gun raise, I think it's a definite fold.
We knew Joseph was going to call with King-Queen suited.
Yeah.
We knew that. But folding King-Jack suited there in
Yeah.
a limit game to an under-the-gun raiser, well done.
8-4 deuce here. Oh, Tony
And look at him. He pats himself on the back, and he's right
checked
there.
around here. Everybody checked it, and now Tony's going to bet when the deuce of clubs turns.
Yep.
And no one has anything here. You know, it's funny, a lot of people like Craig. Craig might, if I was Craig, if for some reason I was in there with, say, 6-7 and got checked around the flop and the turn came deuce, I would probably throw a bet out. Now we can see the river paired the 8, but it was a club, and Tony would have made a flush on a double paired board.
Now, the interesting about throwing away King-Jack suited, some people go, that's a pretty good hand. It's Broadway. Why not call? You've got to realize how easily dominated you can be.
Right.
By hands that somebody might raise it with. Ace-Queen, Ace-King. Well, actually, I had King-Jack. I'm sorry. So, Ace-King, Ace-Jack.
Button moves over here to seat 8 again. And those of you that are joining us late, we have a couple exciting announcements I'm going to make at the conclusion of this hand.
Wow. We also have an email from Vince Klein that I'd love to get to.
Joseph is going to raise with the speed limit, pocket 5s. Ramona's going to cold call here on the button. She has King Deuce of clubs. And Tony, again, in the blind, makes the call with Ace-4 offsuit.
Yeah, you're really surprised by that. And Ramona's got top pair, but how does she know if she's good?
Gets checked around Ramona. She bets, and Joseph check calls with pocket 5s. Turn here is a 9. Ramona's probably going to bet it again here, and Joseph calls it again.
You almost got to hate the 9, though. You
I mean,
can't.
the funny thing is, if you've been paying attention to this game, Ramona has not been bluffing, really.
No.
I mean, when she bets, you've got to know that pocket 5s are beat. This probably is going to go check-check, I'd imagine. And it does. And Ramona's going to take it down there with the king.
Yeah, I don't mind the check at all. Like I said, I always love betting for value. The way this guy played the hand is really odd. You're pretty sure he doesn't have a king.
Yeah, I don't know.
He
said
doesn't have
put
a 9.
Ramona on a flush draw. So, okay, exciting news here. Starting today, leave a voice message for David and I on Skype. That's right, you can go to skype.com, S-K-Y-P-E, download a free Skype account, and then use your computer to leave a message for us at nickname Live at the Bike. Each week, we'll play your messages and answer your questions, so you could actually hear your voice, right, on the show. Unbelievable. You can also sign up for the Knockout Bart tournament. It's up there at the LA Poker Scene, lapokerscene.com, Sunday, March 12th, 3:30 Pacific time, $10 buy-in here with a $100 bounty on my head. I just registered. Check it out, Knockout Bart tournament, lapokerscene.com. Raise here by Bozzy with pocket jacks in seat 4 under the gun. And Saif is going to cold call here with 6s. And we're heads up here. Jacks against 6s here. King, deuce, 4. I think this is a really kind of a major leak in some players', recreational game. Well, actually, this goes bet, raise, and Bozzy 3-bets it here with jacks. He does not believe that Saif has a king. Saif raised it, only facing one overcard. Turns a 7. Now, Bozzy comes out and bets again. Can you easily throw away 6s here, Dave?
Yeah, you can. Remember, there's no real draw out there.
And he does
I mean,
fold.
you can't put your opponent on 3-5.
I was going to say, kind of a leak in some people's games, I think, of limping in early position with small pocket pairs and suited connectors in a game that's not incredibly loose, and making cold calls with low-level pocket pairs.
You got to realize that to hit your set on the turn,
Right.
you are 22 to 1 to
Oh,
hit?
there's no way. I mean, we talk about how even in no limit, you're usually not deep enough to try to say, oh, I'm going to hit my set.
I mean, the pot,
Yeah.
now, there's a $20 bet on the flop. The
Right.
pot has to be about $400
Yeah.
already to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
It's a long process.
And then we need your blood. We have to do a background
I will
check.
wipe up.
Okay. Call the FBI.
Button has moved over to seat 1. Seat 2 is taking a break. That's Dan. The big blind is actually Bozzy in seat 4. Ryan's a small blind.
Ramona's got ace-queen here, and she's just going to limp in here in seat 8.
That's definitely
Open
a mistake there. You need to raise that, I think, in late position.
Buttons, and Tony Kane's going to limp with ace-4 on the button. We're going to see 4-way action here.
Well, he probably thinks if an ace comes, he's good, but he's wrong.
Oh, 5, 6, 7. Tony's open-ended, and he's going to bet the bottom end of an open-ended.
Yeah.
And he might take it down here. See if Ramona's
she's
not
not
going to
gonna
take
get
one
involved.
off.
You know,
That's gonna do it.
ace queen offsuit in late position. That's not a hand that plays well multi-way.
Yeah, I think you would definitely pop it up there.
Yeah,
Again,
I
if
think
you
you need to.
if you did that, Tony would be out of the hand. He'd be up just against the blinds, and you probably would win it. And I got to tell you though, Ramona's game has really improved. Again, I've played with her for about 2 years in Limit
Yeah.
2, and she used to be one of these players that would take one off constantly with overcards. Now you can see she doesn't even do that. Really.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you've got guys that will just sit there and try to take one off with an ace, Dave.
Yeah.
With one overcard.
Ace
how,
4.
How often have we seen that at the low
Oh,
levels?
all the time.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, if she played the hand that way with ace queen, I don't mind what she did post flop.
Oh, no, I thought
Yeah.
you played it great. Post-flop, check and fold.
Right.
Just pre-flop. I mean, successful limit hold'em players aren't going to play that many hands, and they're going to play all the hands they play. They're going to play them hard.
It looks like Dan's coming back to see. We were playing a little bit short. Again, you don't realize when you play at a 9-handed live table how often you are playing 8-handed or less. I mean, I got to say, less than 20% of the time are you at a full table. So what I'm saying is that those borderline hands from early position, I will bring in for a raise where I might fold them online to a 10-handed table.
Yeah, well,
like an ace-jack offsuit, king-queen offsuit, maybe even ace-10.
Yeah, well, that's
You know.
that's some of the things. Obviously, when you're playing poker at any level,
Right.
you really have to keep focused on how many players are in the game,
Right.
what kind of players they are, who's in the big blind, who's in the small blind,
Yeah.
who's at the game, and so forth. Because hands that are either hands that are marginal are either raises or folds because of
Right.
those things.
Yeah, what a sad news, Dave, that Kirby Puckett actually passed away today at 44. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not far off, right, from 44? 10 years? Bud moves over here to, how old are you, 34, 35?
Man, that's some funny stuff. You're a funny guy. Look at that dig. Just dig.
I would not think that Kirby Puckett was the type. I don't think he was doing anything illegal like some other players in terms of like illegal use of steroids. Or I think he took care of his body really well, and is just kind of a freak.
Right.
Turns.
Well, he had didn't he have some sort of degenerative eye
I don't know.
problem, which got him out of.
Yeah, he kind of retired early.
I think he had to
didn't
retire early because of that degenerative eye problem.
C3 raised here with Queen 10 offsuit, and seat number 9 call with an Ace 10. King Jack King here, and Queen 10 takes it down with the open end straight draw.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, the one thing that I can say for baseball is that, I'm into baseball. I love, the live play, and I love going to a baseball game. And watching on television can sometimes be somewhat tedious. Like, one of my best friends at home, Dave, his father watched every single Red Sox game. I could just never interest myself enough to do that.
Oh, my
162 games.
I mean, I'll watch a game.
Yeah.
I'll watch a game here and there, especially if I have fantasy players
Right.
involved. But 162 games. How about this WBC, this World Baseball Classic?
Well.
How lame is that? Who cares?
We
Does
got
anybody?
a raise here by Steven with deuce 3 of hearts. We're playing a little short here. 2 callers, Queen 7 of diamonds and King 10. Here we go to the flop. Ace Jack 7. Let's see if deuce 3 can bet and might take it down here.
Well, if he continues, he'll probably take it down here. I mean,
Well, he bet and Ramona called with a gut shot. The flop is Ace Jack 7 here.
and it's not a draw-heavy board. You wonder if Steven's going to shut down.
Yes, is Steven going to shut down here?
I mean, think about it. There's no flush draw. There's only a gut shot
But
straight draw there.
he's going to bet again, and he takes it down. There you go. Wow.
I mean, oftentimes I like betting the flop, but oftentimes if I bet that kind of flop and somebody
Right.
calls me, I assume they've got a good piece of it and I'm
Yeah.
done with it. But hey, give Steven credit. He fired again and takes down the pot. I mean, I think the Yankees are actually in trouble. Their pitching is atrocious.
Yeah,
this
that's
year.
true. Yeah.
They're relying on like a 49-year-old. I'm just waiting. Randy Johnson's going to throw a pitch one of these days, and his arm is going to fly off.
Interesting post here by Baron Bangor Toth. Tuck,
Yeah.
why are you promoting a communist agenda for baseball on this family show?
A communist. Yeah, well, good point. Good point. He's got me on that one. You know what? It is true though. I love the NFL's model, where they basically treat the entire league as one business. I think it's I think it's nice to know that if you're
Well,
a
again,
Green
I mean,
Bay
you can
Packers
be,
fan,
you can be a capitalist and not have a problem with the league set up because it's one entity, like you said. Ace King suited is going to raise here out of C2. Dan was in the big blind. Couple limpers. The blinds here, and Ramona limp from late position. Queen 9-3. Let's see if Dan continues to bet here. And he does. Queen 9-3 here on the flop.
you imagine he's probably going to take this down. I mean, nobody's got much of anything.
Well, Tony Caden is going to call with a gut shot to the jack here. Turns a 3. Let's see if Dan bets here again. No, it's going to go check. And let's see if Tony bluffs at it now. No, he just gives up, Dave. You know, you're funny. If Tony, with his image, had bet the river there, might he have won? Might he have gotten Dan a fold there with the ace-king?
Yeah, he might have.
Yeah.
Too big blind, please. Small blind on the button.
I'm actually surprised Dan did not fire again on the turn.
Yeah.
Because the way Tony plays, if Tony had a queen, you probably would have heard from him.
Well, the other thing, though, too, is that, you know, sometimes you say, if you've got ace-king in that spot and you decide to take a card there, and that a kind of a non-threatening, non-completing river card comes, non-draw completing river card comes, you almost need to call with ace-king high on the river, right?
Sometimes, yeah, definitely. Especially with a flop like Queen 9-3. If your opponent just checks and calls, you can very easily put them on the hand of exactly Jack 10.
Which, again, is more of a reason why if you had any piece of it from up front, like even bottom pair, you should bet the river, because you might get a call from ace-king. Seat 9 here is going to raise with ace-queen. Ramona limped in with 4-5 of clubs. And Bozzy's in there with 4-5 suited in the blind. So 2 4-5 suited and an ace-queen.
Now, 4-5 suited is a hand I love in no limit hold'em.
Oh, look at Ramona's hand. She flops a straight with a club draw with a straight flush draw. And she's just going to call. And Bozzy's probably... Bozzy leads out with the straight, but Ramona is free-rolling here. And we're probably going to hear from Ramona on the turn. Turns an ace. And now Craig has a pair. Oh, look at this. Bozzy's going to check. He's probably going for the check raise. And when Craig... Oh, look at this. Craig is going to raise.
Now,
no, excuse me. He just calls. Now, Bozzy raises, and Ramona 3-bets here. I love it here.
Wow.
The only hand that Ramona can lose to here is 9-10. She's free-rolling on clubs. Let's see if Craig can get away from it.
Yeah, she can also lose to 9-5, but it's amazing she 3-bets that.
And Craig folds the ace-queen there, Dave.
How do you know your opponent doesn't have 9-10 here? Or 9-5?
Oh.
Man.
Craig folds the ace-queen. Good fold there with the check raise and the 3-bet. Here we go to the river. Oh, the river's a 6, and they're going to chop this one up.
He didn't have it by then. He got me now.
No. Actually, the
I
same
got
hand.
it. Same hand, obviously.
Yeah.
But Ramona was free rolling, and obviously you can 3-bet there because she also has a draw.
Right. Nice hand there. Again,
That's the kind of hand. Like
it's you know. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, in no limit hold'em, that's like a dream hand where you get a bet, a raise, a re-raise, and you go, man, I hope you have the same hand as I have.
And even though I think it's kind of a no-brainer fold from Craig, how often do we see somebody stay in there with one pair on the turn? I mean, you've got a bet by Ramona. You call, a guy check raises, and Ramona 3-bets, and it's 2 big bets over to you cold. How possibly could ace-queen be good on that board?
Right. No, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Now, some people would even argue, and I'm not in that group, but I would say, is there any reason you might want to just smooth call if you're a Ramona and let the guy in behind you?
Well, I mean, you know what? Limit.
Not really.
No.
Play hard.
And again, maybe even the guy might even be on a higher club draw. I mean, why give him? Why not just jam it with extra bets? It's limit. You're not going to win a guy's whole stack. I like to jam it.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, wouldn't you usually?
I agree.
I
agree with you. I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I don't think there's almost never a time, I think, in limit to slow play, as there is in no limit. When in no limit, say if you have the nuts, but there's a good chance. Say you flop the nut straight, but maybe if you let the guy catch up, someone might catch a straight as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that, you know. In limit, you're just missing bets. You don't have the opportunity to make up for these bets later on in the hand.
Now, interesting here. C number 1, Tony there with ace-queen in late position, decides to just limp in.
Yeah, because there were a couple limpers in front of him here. 9-6-5. That is surprising.
Actually, just one limper in front of him.
Yeah.
One limper, and he decided to just...
And the button here has 8-5 suited. He's going to bet. The board is 9-6-5. Steven is going to check raise with Jack 9.
And Tony's going to throw it away, I'm sure.
And we got 2 callers in between. We have Steven Ryan in seat 5 in the hand with King 10. What is he doing in the hand? turns a deuce. Steven leads again with Jack 9.
I mean, look at this flop, folks. The flop is 9-6-5 with 2 diamonds. Joseph called 2 bets cold with King 10.
And he's called here again on the turn. And the river just gets checked down here. Wow.
And he shakes his head, but I'm not sure what he's shaking his head at.
And the funny thing was that my impression of Joseph used to be, again, when you don't see the cards, was he was one of the more tighter players in the 20 game. Button moves over here to seat 4. Big blind saves hand. I'm just laughing about something funny because I was just giving David some crap about the fact that, Dave, you think we were talking about Brokeback. You actually have a gay dog, right?
Yes. My dog, my boy, we call him Huckleberry Finn. We call him Huck, so it's kind of like Tuck and Huck.
Yeah.
And he's gay. He's a sweet, sweet, lovable boy. He just loves guys.
Well, Stephen Ray's here with pocket 9s, and he is going to lead here. And Joseph is going to call with ace-4. He's got a gut shot, wheel draw, and we're heads up. Board is queen, deuce, 3 here. Here we go to the turn. Turn pairs the queen. Stephen bets again, and Joseph calls again. And the river is an ace. Unbelievable. And Joseph is going to turn over the winner, ace-4. Boy, we've just seen this
he
all
did have a
night
wheel
long.
draw. I mean,
Yeah.
a 5 or an ace would have done it.
Yep.
But, man,
Wow.
hands like that will drive you to no limit hold'em.
Exactly. Email here from Darren Teal. He says, thanks, guys. You guys have made me so much money in the Donk 1020 limit I play. Thanks for giving the good advice on betting out with good hands. You guys were talking about baseball. God bless Kirby Puckett. Thank you, Darren Teal.
Thanks for the email. Appreciate it.
Yep. Got an email here from Raymond Charles Clark saying, just thought you guys might want to know that the final table of the Heads Up tournament, NBC's tournament, is Chris Ferguson against Ted Forrest. Well, that's a battle, huh?
Go Ted. Go Ted. Ted's been on our show.
Yeah, several
Chris is not,
times.
so we'll root for Ted.
Right. We had a little raise here by Saif with King Queen here. I think he was in the small blind. He raised it with King Queen off in the small blind. Clock comes 9 deuce 9. And we got a bet. Stephen calls with ace 3. And Tony's in there with Jack 10. And Saif is going to check this one. And now Stephen's going to bet with the ace. He's got the best hand.
Takes it down.
Boy. Absolutely amazing stuff.
Yeah,
here.
really, really strange
I
play.
am dumbfounded. Oh, we got another email here.
What?
Earlier from Niels van der Linden saying, hi, Bart and Dave. I heard you mention these things on the show. Quote, unquote, my fiscal conservative background, end quote. People think the government's there to protect them. I hate those guys. And that was me who said that.
Did you say the first one, too?
Yes,
Or is that
I
mine?
did. No, I did.
You're
I said-
the physical. Okay.
No, because I got this whole thing with politics nowadays and how I consider myself a Northeast fiscal conservative, but I definitely do not consider myself represented by the Republican Party, and I hate the government. And I hate this government, too.
Good to
And
know.
he gave me some couple suggestions on the podcasts. Thank you.
Try to keep the show as unpolitical as possible, folks.
Ramona's got ace-king suited here, and we got three-way action. Pocket 3s, queen 8, and ace-king suited.
Pocket 3s. No, queen 8's actually got an 8. 10, 8, 4, 2 diamonds. And everybody calls. And now Steven's got 2 pair. He's going to look to check raise. And here it comes. Watch. Well, there is a third diamond out there.
Well,
Ramona continues to bet her ace-king.
yeah, he is going to check raise. And
Yeah.
she's going to call with the gut shot here,
Wow,
Dave.
now she does not have a diamond in her hand.
Yeah.
She needs a jack and only a jack.
Oh,
there it
and
is.
the river's a jack!
Oh, my.
And let's see if she pops it up one time, and she does. And Steven has just gotten killed.
Oh, man.
Actually, he 3-bet her, Dave, I think. I think she might have capped it. Unbelievable. Excuse me, it was just a raise and a call.
I was going to say,
Wow.
there's no way. Steven can't
Right.
3-bet that, can he? I was like, queen 8 there?
Wow.
I mean, think about it. There's 3 diamonds out there.
Yeah. And again, you bring up the fact that the fourth diamond comes, it probably just goes check, check, right? If the jack of diamond comes on the river, does it just go check, check on the river, right?
Yeah, unless Ramona can, find
Right.
it in her heart to bluff at it. Oh, about Jack of Diamonds, obviously she'd have it.
Right.
Man, amazing.
Unbelievable.
I tell you, Steven's ass is getting reamed.
Well, it's
by
not
that
really
river.
his fault, though, man.
No,
he's
it's
getting
the
killed.
river is getting killed.
Yeah.
Pocket nines, the ace falls, and there the jack.
Unbelievable.
Amazing. Once again, live at the bike, folks. You're watching Limit Hold'em. Limits are 20 and 40.
I have to call.
No, I don't have to call. It's a mediocre hand. Okay. Four players.
We had a raise here by seat number 3. He's going to open it up with 6-7 suited, Dave, here. Ryan raised. And Ramona leaves right out here at the small blind with 9-10 top pair. Ryan, I do not think is going to get involved with this. But look at this. Saif is going to call with ace-8 here. A red ace-8. And the turn's an ace. I mean, Dave, you're just laughing. And a raise, a bet and a raise here. Wow. Ramona needs a 9 or a 10. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, really is.
And the river's a 7.
What you looking at?
One pair.
And the ace, this is just ungodly, like, the way these cards are coming out.
Oh,
And it's a horrible beat for Ramona. Oh, man.
obviously the 8 being no good. I mean, he had
He
three
had
out.
3 outs to the ace, and he hit it on the turn.
No draw
And he
whatsoever.
raised with ace-8 on the turn.
I mean, I want to say that she was probably like a 90 to, maybe a 90-10 favorite or something.
hey,
or
people
90
might say, you know what, though, she sucked out last time with the ace-king, so,
No, hey.
Unbelievable. Wow. Ace-king this time for Steven.
Hey, speaking of Kirby Puckett, not that I would wish this upon anybody, but you wonder with Barry Bonds, with the human growth hormone and the steroids, that he's obviously on something. You wonder how long he'll live after his baseball career is over.
Yeah, but that's the point I was making, that I don't think Kirby was on any of that stuff, though. Yeah.
What called the raise player?
Steven raised it up here with ace-king. And we are going to see, and this is going to open the game up here, Dave. We're going to see 6-way action here. Double-sized bet, 12 small bets in the pot, $240 pot, ace-10 jack. Well, Steven's got top pair.
Yeah, he does.
Now, a lot of other people have hit this. Queen-10 for Saif. Steven bets.
Ramona also has an ace, by the way.
And Ramona's going to pop it up here with the ace-8.
Well, she's protecting his hand.
Ryan's going to leave, I'm sure, with 4s. And Joseph calls with a red gut shot, Queen-6.
Now, Stevens not only has ace-king, he has top pair. He also has backdoor spade draw because he's got the king of spades.
Yeah.
Plus, he has a gut shot. You got to like.
And Joseph's in there with Queen-6, Dave. And the turn's a queen.
Well, and it's a queen of spades.
And it's the third spade, and Steven checks, and you got to think Steven's going to check raise. He has got the straight with the nut royal flush draw.
At this point, I mean, he's actually got the winner, and he's Ramona's drawing dead.
Yep.
To a tie.
Can an offsuit king here come? Boy, would that be a horrible chop. Here we go. Oh, the river's a 7.
And is Ramona going to...
Like, Steven checked it, Dave. Checked it on the river, going for the check raise. That's unbelievable.
Wait, check raise on the turn? He's going to go for the check raise on the river again?
Yeah, wow.
And that's I I understand what he was thinking there, but Ramona's going to pay him off on the river, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's $40 lost there, huh?
I understand how it goes. I understand how it works.
Unbelievable stuff here. I mean, this is almost like we're kind of sitting back in shock at some of this stuff.
Yeah, it really.
Yeah.
If it's funny, when the way the show started,
Right.
and we saw all these names in here, we're like, oh, wow, we're going to see some really great Limit Hold'em tonight. And what we've seen is pretty much a typical 2040 limit game.
Right.
Oh, Vince Klein actually asked me a question. Asked everybody a question. He said, do you think online poker is at all rigged? And I say no, I don't.
I mean, a lot of people ask that. I mean, I think it's somewhat to do with the fact that some people think that there's something rigged, not necessarily with the fact that people are, say, favored to win or something like that, but rigged in the fact of action, Dave, like big hands over big hands, like some sort of matrix going on to induce action. I don't really believe it. I just think that those online poker entities are so big, you would really have some sort of definite evidence.
Yeah, there's the third spade out there, and Craig has made the flush.
Yep. Dan, seat 7, we can't see his hand. He's got ace-8.
He's got absolutely nothing here. Craig's going to bet, and I imagine, it's going to go down, and Craig takes it.
I mean, you take a look at like these big, companies like an Enron. And there's a whistleblower usually with a big company. And you're telling me that Party Poker software is rigged, and with the tens of thousands of employees that they probably have, someone who wouldn't come out with some definite evidence and say,
I just don't understand.
you know,
People think it's rigged to induce action. The game of poker is great enough on its own. We don't have to induce
especially
action.
when you're seeing so many more hands per hour, right? Yeah, and you know, you got to think about the integrity of a poker site that has so much volume. Why would they want to risk that?
Well, I just don't understand. I mean, you're telling me that people are going to go, wait a second, the action is so good here. I want to play poker. People play poker forever. It's an extremely popular game just the way it is.
Right.
You don't have to change it.
Raise here by C5, Ace Jack offsuit. Ramona calls with King 7 of hearts, and we are heads up here. And the flop comes King high. Ramona's got top pair. Check by Joseph. Ramona calls. King 9 Queen 2 spades. Turn is the 6 of clubs.
Yeah, Joseph needs a 10 or a ace here to win the pot.
And this again is probably going to go check if the 10 does not come, and the river's an 8 of spades here.
Wow, third spade out there.
And Ramona's going to take it down there with the king.
King.
Take it down, Ramona.
It's going to be interesting. You know, I know. You know our floor hostess Donna out there. She does so many different things, and one of the things she tries to do is chip counts. But in a limit game, it's so difficult to try to keep it like up to date because I mean, hundreds of dollars are flying by every 30 seconds, right?
You can see the pace of limit. That's a lot of people that play no limit hold'em.
Right.
Some people that play no limit hold'em think limit hold'em is boring. Now, some people that play limit hold'em think no limit is boring because you get so fewer hands.
Right.
Limit hold'em, you can see how fast it flies. No limit hold'em, a lot of people wait. They take their time. They're thinking.
Limp here. Well, I think that's sometimes when we see a limit player come over to no limit, they get so bored. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so slow. 4-way action here, limped around. Actually, 5-way action.
All spades.
Ace 5-9. Looks like we got Ace 8 here for Bozzy.
Yeah, he's actually got the best hand here and the highest spades, so he's in great shape.
Yeah.
You imagine he's going to take it down right here and now. But, I mean, to go back on that, I mean, the only thing I'd be worried about in terms of online poker would be about collusion. I'd be worried that there are players that either have multiple accounts or they're playing in partnership type teams against you. But I'm not. I think the sites generally are pretty safe.
Dave, if you want to watch this show and any other show we've ever done, you can sign up for the archives. Now, we've got a couple of emails and some people here live that said some of the archives in the last month were a little bit hard to find. I actually got confirmation that they were all there. February is there and March is there. They're just not necessarily grouped or as organized as they have been, but we are aware of the situation and we are working on it. So there you go.
Yeah, we actually checked it before the show and we
Yeah.
did find all the shows, but they're just not dated right, I think.
This one's going to get chopped around here.
Is that our first chop of the night?
Probably second one.
Wow. 2 chops in, 2 hours?
Button moves over here to seat 4. Got about an hour left in the show. Well, here's a look at a chip comp. It's probably a couple hands old, but we'll bear with us. So this is what we're at now. And let's take a look at the differences. We've got about over $8,000 on the
Bozzy's
table.
probably the big winner.
Yeah,
He is.
$800.
Bozzy and Steven, both big winners.
And
Amazing.
yeah.
Steven's taken 2 terrible beats and he's still up $800.
Yeah, he should be up a ton.
Yeah.
Ramona here is going to raise it up with queens in seat 8.
You next?
And Saif, we haven't seen him fold the big blind yet all night. He's going to defend.
Surprise, surprise. He's got a 4 and an ace.
Ace 4 here. And Ramona's got the queen of spades here. 10, 8, 3.
Now, this would be really, really bad because he's got a red ace in his hand.
Yeah.
Got the ace of diamonds, the 4 spades. He pretty much needs an ace that is not spades. We're talking 2 outs, folks. The ace of clubs or the ace of hearts.
Well, she bets the turn,
Oh, there you
and he
go.
folds.
River would have been an 8 of clubs, and Ramona would have taken that anyway.
I can complain. This deal I never jumped.
Now, to jump around subjects here, I want to go back to football just for a second. One of the things I love about football, and I mean, obviously, I'm a diehard New York Jet fan. Anybody that watches the show knows that. But I love the fact that the Green Bay Packers can win, or the Kansas City Chiefs can win, or, you know what I mean? All these small market teams can win. San Diego Chargers can still compete. And that's what drives me nuts about baseball is basically half the league seems like it's a minor league system for the other half. I mean, you look at the Kansas City Royals, they basically groom a guy like Carlos Beltran, and then when he gets good, they have to ship him off to the Mets because they can't afford him anymore.
Right.
And the Oakland A's as well. I mean, half the Oakland A's are scattered across the league because nobody can afford them anymore. like Miguel
Oh, the
Tejada.
A's are traditionally, they basically have they built up the players, and they're all on other teams now.
Exactly. It's basically a minor league system for the rest of the league, and I just don't understand. You look at the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, they actually have a great minor league system right now, a lot of really great youngsters that they're predicting probably in 5 or 6 years, they'll probably be all over the league.
Right.
And what kind of league, how can a league possibly, be successful into that kind of, working? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, whatever. It's my 2 cents.
Seed 5 is going to open limp here with ace-6 offsuit from the cutoff.
Man, I guess as long as you're a Boston Red Sox fan or a Yankee fan, you're okay.
Right. Ace-King-8 here. Well, Joseph's got the ace. Ramona's going to come out and lead here with second pair. Seed 5 is just going to call. Let's see if Ramona checks it here on the turn. It's really difficult to put Joseph on an ace here. He open limped from the cutoff, Dave. Turns a 5, she checks, and he checks, and the river's a 9. And they just check it down.
I just don't understand Joseph's game here. What? Okay, when I don't have a hand, I'm going to lose as much as possible. And when I have the winning hand, I'm going to win as little as possible.
Well, you don't know that.
I mean, you kind of want to turn that around, don't you?
I think it's great because usually Isaac, will tell us that he's flipping over to us, but I think that the looks on our faces, he wanted to capture the moment. Like we're flabbergasted. Yeah.
We were just talking about that last night.
Ace King here for seat 4. That's Bozzy.
I mean, generally, the rule for successful poker is win as much money on your winning hands and lose as little on your losing hands. I mean, it's pretty basic.
Bozzy's going to raise it up here with Ace King. Ramona calls with a suited connector, 3-4 of hearts. Craig has played it pretty tight all night, but he's going to defend with Queen 8. Interesting how I see some of these tight players defend here. Well, he hits top pair here, Queen 9-5.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I think these are blind leaks. Leaks that are played in the blinds.
He comes out and bets and he takes it down. Now, someone will say, and I remember Shirley, love her, obviously former co-commentator at Live the Bike, would say that she will defend the blind heads up with any 2 working cards because she doesn't think that there is, you have any 2 cards that are a 3.5 to 1 dog against somebody else. But she said that with multi-way action, she'll fold those hands.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, against certain players, I will. If I'm playing against a really tight, somewhat passive player, okay, yeah, I can always say that. Then I'm thinking maybe I can outplay the player. But against a good, tough poker player, why do I want to put more money in out of position with an inferior hand? I keep asking the same question.
We got a raise here by Steven. Interesting, same type of situation here. Craig is just going to call in the small blind with ace-jack suited, where we talked about maybe 3-betting there in that spot. And Bozzy had limped there with ace-8 suited, and he flops straight aces.
Yeah, badly dominated. Bozzy has 3 outs to the winner, and he catches 2 of the 3.
He bets out here, and Steven actually has king 4. I mean, what is he really looking to hit here? He's not going to get involved.
And Steven's probably going to just, look at that, he just throws it away. And Bozzy gets no money on this one. And some people will say, why not slow play it? No, man, that's okay.
Yeah.
I like the way he played that hand. And show everybody that you bet your trips right out.
Ace deuce here for seat 4. That's Bozzy. Ace jack here for seat 6, Saif, and he's going to bring it in for a raise. Remember, it was kind of the whole table versus Saif earlier on in the night.
Yeah. And is Dan going to call this?
He does. He's in the big blind. He's going to call with ace 10. He is dominated. Joseph's in there with ace 6, and we got 7-8 suited over there for seat number 4.
Well, not surprisingly, no ace falls. Saif still with the best hand against 2 aces.
Is Joseph going to take one off here with ace 6?
Yeah, Ryan is not in the hand with 8-7 hearts.
Nope. There you go.
And Dan's not going to take one off either. He's going to throw it away. Man, Dan does not play a lot of hands, does he?
I think if anyone kind of is similar to the way that I play this game, it's probably Dan from what I've seen tonight. And I think that Dan's probably playing it the best. I mean, he's not playing any hands. He's not really getting involved.
I agree with you.
I mean, the only thing that he did that I wouldn't have done probably was that 3-bet with aces there. But you know what? if he's played with Steven a lot and he thought he had the best hand, it was just one extra bet there, right? I mean,
Yeah, the only other play I would have made, like I said, I probably would have 3-bet it with ace-jack of spades.
Yeah.
Small blind. That's just me.
Bozzy's going to raise it up here with ace-king of clubs. Ramona calls with queen-jack offsuit. Craig is going to call with ace-10 of hearts. Now, that's another hand I usually do not get involved with to a raise, Dave. Ace-10 of heart, ace-10 suited.
I mean, if you're in the big blind, you'd probably throw an extra 4 chips in there, but certainly not in the open field.
Now look at this. Ryan called with queen 5 off, and he's just going to check call. He's slow playing here 3-5s. He thinks his buddy Bozzy might have an overpair. He checks again, and Bozzy's going to bet again.
Well, he's going to see if he can get Craig in there one more time, and Craig is going to call because he's now picked up the heart draw.
And now Ryan's going to check raise.
Wow, and you wonder now if by slow playing, is he going to let Craig get there?
Well, Craig has outs to a heart. It
Yeah.
can't be the
Can't be the queen of hearts.
right. The turn was the deuce of hearts. Here we go to the river. Oh, wait, he has not called yet. Now he's going to make the call.
Now, this is limit hold'em where pretty much it's an automatic call, isn't it? Even with the paired board.
Well, the river's a 7. That's no good. You know, it's interesting. You know, Ryan, I kind of liked his game with the exception of the fact that he seems like he'll call any 2 on the blind as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a raise. You got 3 callers. Yeah, I guess you're getting a lot of odds. But
Up and down?
5,
Up and down, I don't see
I mean,
it.
if you go with that theory that you can call any 2 cards, then you just call any 2 cards, right? Like you got a razor and 4 people, and then I can just call any 2 cards in the big blind. I just don't know what I'm trying to hit there. I mean, that's
Well, that's exactly what you're trying to hit, trip 5s. I mean, except
well,
you don't
take a
want
look.
queen.
I mean, I don't know what the odds are off the top of my head, Dave, but what are the odds that you hold a card that you're going to flop trips with? And even if you had trip queens there,
No, yeah, it's got to
you
be the
wouldn't
bottom
know.
card.
Yeah, it's got to be the bottom
you
card
have
because
up and
Ramona
down.
would have had trip queens with a higher kicker.
Exactly.
Right.
If it's up and down, you've got to be the bottom one.
So what are the specific odds that you flop trips of your bottom card? I got to think that it's probably over maybe 500 to 1 that you flop that trips with the bottom card specifically.
I mean, I don't care. A lot of people go, well, it's pot odds. You're
Right.
certainly not getting the odds to go for those.
I mean, I don't know
trips.
if it's 500 to 1, but I don't think you're getting the pot odds. Even if you're getting 15 to 1, there's
And
nowhere
if you want to
near
make
the
the
pot
argument,
odds.
wait a second. How about 2 pair? 2 pairs, okay,
Right.
right? Okay, well then try to think of what are the odds of hitting 2 pair or better.
Look at this. Joseph bets out here with 7-8, and Saif immediately raises with his set. Joseph bets again, trying to represent clubs, and Saif is just going to call now. But Saif actually raised with top set there, and the river here is an 8.
Wow, and Joseph's made 2 pair now.
He bets again, and Saif is just going to call, and he's got it with 3 7s.
I don't mind the call there. With
Now,
trip
again,
sevens.
if we can leave that board up here, we haven't seen this tonight, but an expert play with 3 7s there might actually be to raise the turn when
Yeah.
the third club comes,
Take
because
the fish showdown.
you cannot get re-raised probably unless you've got a guy against you who's got the nut flush, right? And then check when you whiff with the full
Right,
house, right?
exactly.
At the end.
If somebody's got, say, a 9 high flush or something like that,
Right,
they'll
right.
probably just smooth call you.
Right.
And the only problem is now if you get raised there again, you
have
can't
to
get
call.
away from it.
Yeah, you have to call.
because you have outs.
But, you know, a smart player might be able to fold the river, though, right? If you don't fill up. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
hell of a fold, you know. It just,
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about, you,
yeah.
you're not going to make a living making big laydowns in limit hold'em, but
We're heads up here. King 10 against King 10.
actually King 10 versus Queen 10.
Oh, you're right. Tony K actually brought this one in for a raise, and he continues to bet here with a flop of 3 deuce deuce.
Yeah, well, he's in position. He's got the best hand.
And Saif is going to check call.
And then he bets the turn.
Yeah, check calls the flop, and then he comes out and bets the turn, and he's going to take it down.
Yeah.
Haven't come close to a flop.
Nice play by Saif.
Yeah.
4 dealers.
Got about 45 minutes to an hour left in the show.
Yep.
You're watching Limit Hold'em on Live at the Bike.
Again, starting today, Skype us. Go to Skype, SKYPE.com. Download their software, and then Skype us live at the bike. Get your voices maybe on the show. Let's see. New player coming in to seat 5, Dan. Dave. Another Dan.
Dan the man.
Raised here by Bozzy on the button. King, Jack, offsuit. Steven is not going to defend this time with deuce 4.
Now, the funny thing is that, I mean, would you be more apt to defend, and I'm not going to defend with the other one, but would you be more apt to defend with queen deuce or deuce 4?
Right. You would think two working cards would probably be a deuce 3 or a deuce 4 as opposed to king deuce or queen deuce,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, those up and down hands.
I mean,
hate
people
those.
say, well, I might have the best hand with queen or king high, but how are you going to play the hand out? Because you're not going to hit the. I mean, you're not going to hit that top pair usually, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to check call, and hope that queen high is good.
And you're either going to win a small pot or lose a big one.
I mean,
usually.
I never understood that argument. I think that was one of the arguments that Matt Mantros had that, well, on the button, you know, chances are queen high against a button stealer is going to be good. So call with queen 3.
And then what?
Yeah.
Right. What, and then check it and check raise? I mean, I think he actually advocated check raising almost 75% of the time on the flop, no matter what came out.
Put you in a tough spot when you know that the guy against you has position and might smooth call, and it puts you in a situation where you might get popped on the turn. And what are you going to do then when you get popped on the turn and you have no
You
pair?
got queen high?
Yeah.
Continue putting the guy on 10 high. And just keep calling him down.
It's amazing.
7 players raised, folks.
We had a raise here by Saif with queen jack off on the button. 14 small bets here. We got almost a $300 pot.
Yeah.
Deuce 3-4, and Craig flops a wheel.
Wow. Now, Ryan has got overcards and a gut shot, and look at Tony K. Tony's got 2 pair.
Yeah,
and he's
he-
going to raise right away.
He raises with top 2 pair. C3 is going to call here. And Saif is in there with queen jack, backdoor spades. He's got the highest backdoor spade here. Let's see if he can pull it off again, Dave, with the queen jack. Now, Craig really should jam this one.
Oh, not even a question now. And he
does.
is.
Ramona's in there with king 6. She's got a gut shot to the 5. And we're going to see 3 bets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Saif caps it.
And Ryan's in there with a gut shot.
Saif capped it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get 16 small bets.
And Ramona is almost drawing dead here, folks. Look at Ramona's
Oh,
hand.
this pot is incredible, Dave. Here we go to the turn. The turn is a 7.
And that doesn't change
It doesn't
anything. It's
change
Ryan
anything.
top pair now, but he's still in bad
And
shape.
Craig's all in. No more bets can be put in. We've got about 40 small bets in there, and the river's a 7. Ryan makes trip 7s, but they're no good.
No.
Tony K's can gets counterfeited on the river.
But he's got garbage now. He's got 7s and 4s with a 3 kicker.
Ryan's going to bet out on the side with trip 7s, and Tony is disgusted over in seat 1. He folds. But the wheel is going to take down. Dave, we've got an $800 pot, and no bets were put in on the turn and on the river.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Craig's got to be pissed that he didn't have any more money.
Right.
Because he probably would have obviously got a lot more bets in the turn.
Man. I mean, Tony might have raised again on the turn. You never know.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow.
And you certainly know Ryan's not going anywhere now that he's got top pair with the same gut shot. Huge hand there.
I mean, that pot could have been something like $1,200 or $1,300 had Craig had more money.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons we talk about limit hold'em also, especially a game that plays crazy like this has a propensity to do. You can win 1 pot an hour and be fine.
No, yeah.
It's one of the reasons we haven't heard from Dan all night. You know, a mark of a good limit hold'em player. I was going to say, if we had a limit hold'em on Live the Bike, if you don't notice somebody, they're probably playing pretty well.
But then the 7 killed him.
Now, unfortunately for Dan, he really hasn't picked up many hands. He picked up pocket aces once. They got, somebody cracked his aces and he lost. So he's probably down $300 or $400. That's the mark of a good player. You're not going to play too many hands. Queen 9-5 rainbow, folks. Tony K is open-ended with Jack 10. He's going to bet his semi-bluff and take it down.
And he does. Button moves over here to seat 8.
An interesting email from Brett King talking about Curry Puckett, and I hope he did not take it the wrong way. I actually do not take Curry Puckett's death lightly at all.
No,
it's a
no.
sad moment, and I offer
Right.
my condolences to his family and to anybody that knew him.
If anyone took that the wrong way,
Yeah.
I don't think that we were taking his death lightheartedly.
Not at all.
No.
To me, anybody that's somebody young, like
Right.
in this case, I guess he was 45 years old,
Right.
gets taken. That's obviously a tragic moment.
Queen 8 deuce here, rainbow. Doesn't look like anybody has any piece of this.
But the interesting thing is, the email actually goes into the Barry Bonds era there, and Ramona's going to bench.
Yeah, I know.
Down.
It's just
Now, the interesting thing about that email also, he's talking about Barry Bonds, how we had joked about that. And that's actually not a joke.
Yeah.
It's a scary fact is that one of the things that scares me, actually, is you look at football players that die young and baseball players, and you wonder if a lot of these players are going to die young because of the human growth hormones and steroids. And it's actually a sad fact. But I guess, hey, if you're going to deal with the devil, so to speak, and mortgage your future so you can play baseball at a high level, hey.
limp here by seat 3. Seat 4 is going to limp in. It's actually interesting that, and I don't know anything about steroids or human growth hormones. I've never taken them before.
Yeah.
But some people actually counter that argument, Dave, and say that some of those things get a bad rap, and they're only used improperly as one that they can actually do damage to you.
Well, that's what most doctors will say that. We'll
Right.
get to this in a second, actually. Flop is king, queen, 5, 2 diamonds. And Bozzy's got the best hand here. King on the turn now. And it goes check. It's Ryan versus Bozzy here.
Yeah, but they just check it down.
Yeah, they check it down now. They're good buddies.
Yeah.
And the jack is going to play, and Bozzy's going to take this down.
And Brian actually told him don't show it because it kills the jackpot possibility, actually. Brian, the dealer.
There you go.
No, I'd heard, actually, one of the people that had said that was Jose Canseco. I don't know how much, credence to put in what he says.
Yes,
but
some doctors actually come out and said that a small amount of steroids would
Right.
actually help a vast majority of the elderly
Right.
population.
But they also talk about in athletes, if used properly, it helps you to recover better in terms of performance, and it helps you to avoid injuries because you might not be playing when you are not fully recovered.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously some doctors have come out and said that, but a lot more doctors have come out and said that if misused, which is
Absolutely.
more often than not, it breaks down a lot of other organs and so forth.
We had a raise here by Saif with ace-9, and 8-9 offsuit is going to call. Queen 4-5 here on the flop. Saif makes the continuation bet here, and I think Ryan's going to get rid of it, and he does. Well, it's just funny, I don't want to get into a whole big, discussion, kind of one of these more political discussions, but it just seems sometimes in this country where when anything can hurt you if misused, we're just going to outlaw it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just,
$20. In the no limit game I play, they put 8,000 on your gut shot on the turn.
I mean, I can drink a bottle of Jack Daniels, Dave, in like 20 minutes, and it's going to hurt me, right?
Exactly. I can go run into a wall with head first and be fine. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, not that I ever touch the stuff, but I mean, it's ridiculous that marijuana is illegal. But hey, I don't want to get into that.
We got a limp and a limp. You might be getting too cutting edge here, Dave.
Ooh.
Ace Queen is going to limp here. And
whatever.
Actually, it's funny because I used to take ephedra supplements before I used to work out. Never had any problems because I never, I used
You're
it properly.
junkie. You're a junkie.
Well, it's just something. Ace 9-8, and that was actually outlawed. And I think it's actually back legal now. I'm not
Craig
sure.
with Ace Queen there, top pair.
Craig's going to bet. Tony's going to call. He's open-ended.
Yeah, he's got the top end here, over-ended here.
And Bozzy's going to call with the bottom end of a gut shot. But if a 7 comes, his hand's no good because Tony's in there with Jack 10. Well, the turn's a Jack.
Now, you look at these percentages here. Now, Craig thinks, okay, I'm way ahead here, right? But you look that now he's suddenly over 50%.
Tony calls. And Ramona calls behind here with King 9. And here we go to the river. The river is a 3.
Craig survives.
And I wonder again, Dave, if we keep this board up. Let me throw something at
I love
you.
the bet here by Craig.
See if Tony's... I don't think Tony's going to pay him off. Let me throw something out at you.
Go.
Could Tony possibly raise on the turn there to and Ramona's going to pay him off with a 9 to drive out other 10s and then check the river in a free showdown if he was intending to call the river. Now, in this case, he didn't call the river. So maybe he was thinking, I'm going to save one bet.
Right. I mean, it's definitely a way to play it. If somehow he picked up the heart draw as well, that's probably a way to play it. The problem is with an ace out there at this level, it's really hard to get anybody out of the hands.
Right.
Live at the bike, politically incorrect, trying to keep it real. We're not here to offend you. Don't take offense. Don't take everything so personal, everybody.
No, I'm
Thank
saying
you,
give me a
gentlemen.
break because I think you don't have a lot of money.
Saif's going to get up and leave. I think he had a pretty good night.
Playing is a lesson.
Look at this
Got him.
post here by 22 Skidoo. I don't know if anyone was picking on Isaac. But he says, hey, don't pick on Isaac. From what I've seen, he does a better job than whoever the schmuck was that directed the Oscars last night. There you go.
Dan here with Ace Queen. He's going to raise it up,
Out of the blinds, and Ramona had limped in with a King 9 of hearts, and here we go to the flop.
and he hits his ace.
Yep.
Ace Queen good again.
And he
folks.
checked it from up front, Dave. And now he's going to bet.
And he takes it down. And the funny thing is, if he bets the flop, Ramona might call.
Well,
I'm not saying
maybe not in this situation, but again, like you said, if you had any piece of it, maybe, if someone had pocket fours, they would call. It's just kind of an extra bet that you miss, right?
Yeah, I mean, she probably wouldn't have called, but
Right.
you never know.
Right.
Pre-flop betting is great. So when they cap it, they cap every hand in 100 yards. Every time, every round.
Looks like we got another new player coming in as seat 6. Looks like Saif is left. And I think he was up a lot, wasn't he?
He did pretty well.
But the whole game is on the flop.
I respect that raise.
20 plays just like ace 16.
Yeah, it does.
Ace Queen here for Tony Caden. He's going to raise.
Here it comes. You had me.
And Tony is going to take it down. And look at that. Stephen Muck, King Jack suited in the blind, Dave.
But it's amazing. I mean, they cap every pot. And I played a hand like yours, and everybody had the big pair. And I hit the guy.
Button's going to move over here to, looks like seat 5.
I said, I know you don't. None of you had what I had. Not only was
It looks like we got currently one seat open over there in seat 8. It looks like Ramona's getting up. Again, we're playing 20-40 limit hold'em. The yellow chips are $5 chips. It's a 4-8 chip structured game. And we've seen a ton of action tonight, Dave. When I thought that it was actually going to be a tight night.
Yeah, I mean, usually you're right on. You couldn't have been more wrong about this game. I really thought this game was going to be really, really tight.
he has King Jack and goes, I read you perfectly. I knew you didn't have anything.
It's funny, our producer Evelyn's come back into the room. Right when I said Republican, it looked like she ran right out of here. Fiscal. No, not modern
and
day.
Look at this flop, folks. Ryan has flopped a straight. And Steven calls here with Jack Deuce. He's got a gut shot to the same straight. Now he's got a pair of deuces.
Yep.
And Steven can only tie the hand, folks. And Steven's going to call with the gut shot.
Yep, called with the gut shot in the pair. Ryan bet the nut straight the whole way, and the river's a 4. And Ryan bets again, and Steven pays him off the whole way with a pair of deuces. Wow.
Where's the rest of that pot?
Yeah, Steven said, man, I was drawing pretty thin.
I sometimes think that maybe sometimes people get wrapped up in thinking that they're making a read in limit as well, Dave.
Yeah.
Like this guy's betting out with ace king. And
I noticed that sometimes if there's a leak in my game, sometimes I'll get too much into it. Go, hey, this guy's betting ace king. This guy's betting
well, I
ace
think
king.
sometimes you can back yourself into a type of thinking that now the pot is so big on the river that is there a chance, like a 1 out of 6 or 7 chance that this guy could be betting with ace king, so I have to call. What do you think about thinking about that?
Well, and then mistake begets mistake. I mean, you call
Yeah.
on the flop thinking, oh, well, maybe I'll
Right.
hit it. And then suddenly, before you know it, the pot's $300 and you're calling.
Right.
And suddenly you look at it and you go, wait a second, how did I just lose $100 with Jack Deuce?
Dan limps in after Tony Caden limped in. Actually, Dan just limped in with pocket 6s, open limp. Seat number 3 is going to raise with ace king.
Just 2 players.
And we're just heads up here. 6s against ace king.
Well, 6s are still good, but how does Ryan know that, though? I'm sorry, how does Dan know that? Apologies.
Well, Dan is going to check raise here. And Ryan 3 bets.
And look at this. They're pretty much even money, folks, because any jack, running spades, or an ace or a king would do it.
And again, if you played the hand like Dan here, I wouldn't mind actually just folding right now with 6s. I mean, you check raise the guy, he 3 bet. Even if you're up against ace king, like you said, you have no way where you're at, and chances are you're probably not even a favorite against ace king, right?
And he
does
throws it
fold.
away. I mean,
Yeah.
and look at that. The turn was a 5 of spades, and that would have given Ryan. And the turn was a 5 of spades, and the river was a 6.
Yeah. Well,
The 5 of spades on the river on the turn, though, I don't even think that Dan, even if he calls the flop, he sees a 3rd spade out there.
Yeah,
There's no
it's
way
tough.
he's getting to the river.
looks like we got about a half an hour left in the show here. The button moves over to seat 9. That's Craig.
Just the 600 game. They buy in pretty big.
We again watching 20-40 limit hold'em, Dave.
Monday is limit night here at Live at the Bike, folks.
I always think it's amazing, though, that, Limit Hold'em was the only game until a couple of years ago, right? In casinos,
I mean, you can find no limit here and there, but obviously, a lot of times, actually, when I was playing even 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, there was a pot limit game and a limit game, but there was no limit game.
That was over at one of the other casinos, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that game actually goes on anymore. Even though I'm sure you would love to play like a live pot limit game.
I really, pot limit is actually one of my favorite games. I love it.
Yeah. You think it takes a little bit more skill? Obviously, pot limit tournaments, people, I mean, in a no limit cash game, Dave, you're not going to see as much pre-flop all-in unless you're in a really restricted game. But the games that we play, which are pretty deep stacked, that doesn't really happen. But in tournaments, obviously, when it gets to that stage, you see a ton of pre-flop pushing in no limit tournaments. But pot limit really takes that move out, and you have to play post-flop, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, exactly. It's funny, in deep stacked cash no limit games, they actually play somewhat similar to a pot limit game.
Right.
Because you're not seeing ridiculous $500 raises pre-flop in a 5-10 game.
And anytime anybody raises or bets, it's usually the pot anyways, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Three-way action here.
Queen Jack is best hand right now. Not anymore.
10-5-3.
Actually,
I think it still is.
It is still the best hand. You're right.
Steven bets, and Ryan check raises here with a gut shot to the floor. So a little bit of play there, and he takes it down.
Yeah. Steven does not take one off. Ryan takes it down. Is that Ohio State?
The Ohio State? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Just wonder.
I don't think so. Is it?
It looks like Ohio State's colors, isn't it? Kind of silver
Red and white, yeah.
He wouldn't run away, but he wouldn't pay us.
I thought I went to a big school. Syracuse has got about 15,000 undergrads, but some of these state schools are just like cities in themselves. Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, 70,000 students.
Oh yeah, you're 15,000 at Syracuse. That's like one class.
Right.
At Ohio State.
But still, over 10,000 is a pretty big school, though, in the whole scheme of things.
How about my school? I had 1,500 people in the whole
Total? It's like going to high school. That's why I didn't want to go to one of those schools. I didn't want to go through high school again.
Many more times.
Ace 6-9 here.
Steven's going to bet. He's got position. He takes it down.
Yeah.
Power of position.
Looks like he had the best hand there with pocket fours.
He did. Once again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Got a couple of new features coming on, so if you have any kind of interesting question for us in terms of strategy question or something that happened, say, you were playing poker and you weren't sure how to play a hand, send us the question. We won't answer it online right away on the show, but we'll read it and we might.
Yeah, you can email us, and you can also, again, you can Skype us and leave your voice. Maybe get yourself on the show.
Yeah. Got a couple of new features coming up, so we might actually be able to answer your question. You can check it out on the website at a later date.
This one's going to get chopped up here. This game looks like it's turned a little bit tighter with safe out of the game, Dave.
Yeah. I'm not aware. I don't know exactly who.
This is Richard.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays. Have you ever played with Richard?
I have not. Well, it's interesting that, we had of course, Winning of the Green is going on, Dave, and we had a Limit Hold'em tournament. Dave, you and I both played on Sunday. And I think people were a little bit confused about the schedule because there wasn't as big a turnout as you expect in a $300 no limit game. Tournament. There was only about 230 people, but we both got knocked out right around the third or fourth level, right?
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, it almost, I knew it. Obviously you can do the math when you're in a tournament, but you are really, as I've been playing more and more cash games, you are really inherently short-chipped when you're in a tournament. It's amazing.
And they're not going to chop. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't want to stop you there. The under the gun actually limped in with 6-8 of hearts.
That was
Steven limped in, yeah.
We got a bet out here by Dan with top pair, and Steven is going to raise here with the flush draw. He actually has 6-8. He's got a pair and a flush draw.
Yeah, it's a monster flop for him, folks.
Queen 8 deuce here. He bets again, and Dan is going to check call again with Queen Jack here.
Well, Dan's ahead now, and Steven's going to need a heart, a 6 or an 8.
River's a 9, no help.
Dan checks it.
Yeah.
Steven can only shake his head.
Again, he was in there with 6-8 of hearts. There you go.
That's what makes him winning.
He had a pair and a
That's
flush.
a hand I don't really want to limp in under the gun and limit hold'em.
Yeah. You always see. I actually remember playing with this guy 2 years ago in Legends here. So, I mean, it's funny how you see some faces that you remember when you play with them in a tournament, you know?
Well, they say some of the great poker players, they can play with you one time, and it can be 3-4 years ago, and they'll remember how you played.
Yeah, that exactly.
Pocket Kings over here for seat 3. I don't think Dan is kind of getting, he's not really getting many cards over there.
No, he's really not.
He did suck
But, you know, he's not going to press. He's not going to get impatient. He's going to wait, and he's going to wait, and he's going to wait until they come.
Seat 5 is going to cold call here with pocket 3s. And ace 10 is in there over there in seat 9.
3 ways here. Jack, Jack, 7, rainbow.
Well, you wonder if 3s are going to get involved here. I mean, is the play here to raise? He just calls. And Craig calls as well.
I wonder if Dan raises the turn.
Eventually, he's going to keep rebuying more than you have.
And it gets checked around on the turn. And the river is a 10, and anyone with an 8 would have a straight. How do you like your kings now? But it's going to be the winning hand.
Yeah, Ryan played it real passively there. He didn't want to bet the turn. He obviously did not want to get raised, so he played it real passive.
But you look at it, and it's like the guy in the button, he cold called my raise.
Yeah.
And now I bet the flop, and now he calls. Because, like you said, if I bet and now he raises, where does that put me with kings, you know? It's interesting.
Kind of a way of keeping the pot small with kings there.
Well, I don't necessarily know if you need to keep the pot small and limit hold them. But
No, I'm not saying it's the correct play. Just his play. Now, if you like no limit hold'em, that'll be the rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday. Like I said before, Monday is limit hold'em night.
Button moves over here to seat 6. 7, 8, and 9 are in the hand here. Limped around 3 ways. Jack, 9, 7. Misses everyone. Looks like pocket 5s is the best hand. He gets checked around, turns a deuce. And now seat number 8 is going to bet out with 6-3 diamonds. He's got a flush draw. And Tony folds. There you go.
And that's clearly not Ramona.
No.
Get his name for you in a second. Looks like a John to me, though. Or a Fred.
Now, Dan's got Queen Jack offsuit in second position. Let's see what he's going to do. He folds it easily, Dave.
What do you have?
Queen Jack offsuit.
In early position, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's aces there. Wow. Aces for Dan. I guess maybe, and that's different Dan. Dan in seat 5.
Seat 5 raises, and seat 8 is going to call with Jack 9 of clubs, Dave, in the small blind again.
Yeah, open call there.
Yep.
Heads up, folks.
6-4-6. This missed Jack 9.
Yeah, that's a real good flop for aces. You got to love that.
But look at this. Jack 9's making a stone cold play at it, Dave. And Dan re-raises, and Fred just folds.
Yeah.
And
That might be a time where sometimes I will call with the aces.
and pop the turn.
Well, especially because I have the ace of diamonds.
Yeah. And again, even if a third diamond comes, you can still raise.
Yeah.
And you might still and you
get
check
free
it down
showdown, right.
on the river. You might.
And you know, obviously Fred was making that play there thinking, maybe this guy's got big cards, ace, jack, ace, king. Maybe it missed him. I can pretend like I have 7s or 6s or 8s.
Right. Looks like seat number 1 there. That was Hollywood Tony left the game.
This hand's been so good to me. I got to call it. This hand's been so good to me. I got to call it.
Big blind is Dan. He's going to actually be in the hand here. Doesn't have much of a hand, though. He's got queen 3 offsuit.
It's not 6-7. You know it's not 6-7.
And it's limped around. Seat number 6 there. Richard decided not to raise with ace-jack in late position. And 9-5-4 rainbow flop, folks. I want to say this is pretty much, seat number 5, actually. Dan, who had linked in with 9-3 suited, actually hits top pair. And he bets it.
No, okay. I thought it was Jack 10. I just say things like that just to see.
And he takes it down.
Yep, there it is.
There you go.
Jack 10 offsuit.
Now, a hand like 9-3 suited, it's not a hand to me that has much value.
No, it doesn't.
In a limit hold'em, I guess you're not going to get hurt too badly, but I mean, if you hit a flush, it's not like you're going to get paid off.
Yeah, sometimes, it's almost like any 2 suited cards for some people, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, and they don't realize what the odds against you are hitting a flush.
Pocket queens here in the big blind for Ryan. Seat 3.
Now, this is the kind of game that we were expecting earlier on.
Seat 8's going to bring it in here with big lick suited, 6-9 suited. Craig is going to cold call with ace-jack. Now, you might 3-bet there with ace-jack. I might probably as well. And Ryan is just going to call. He does not 3-bet out of the blind with queens. Jack 5-4. And now we get a bet and a raise by Craig. Let's see if Ryan makes it 3 bets. And he does. Now, Fred can easily fold the hand. And you know what? Craig might. The way this hand came about, well, he doesn't cap it. You might cap it there with the ace-jack. Turns a 3.
Well, if you have ace-jack here, might you raise this and then take the free showdown on the river?
Well, we keep saying that, but we haven't seen anybody make that move. The river's an 8, and queens are good.
But would that be a good time to do it? Wow.
You got 2 pair?
You got the pair? No. Oh, I got you beat that.
No, sir.
Chop, chop? Oh, queens. Oh.
And Craig was sure. The guy didn't raise. He said, you don't have 2 pair. I'm good.
Again, against a late position raiser and a caller on the button, I think you re-raise queens for value out of there in the big blind.
I agree. Although in that case there, he disguised his holding enough that he got paid up the entire way. I don't think ace-jack's going anywhere anyway, though.
Yeah.
Sit open. Throw that at you. Make sure you check out liveatthebike.com, our website. We've got all sorts of things. We've got poker news on the left-hand side. We've got our Pokulator over there. We've got my blog, Under the Gun, which I will update probably tomorrow or the next day.
Again, you can check out the archives, which will be recategorized. I got word. Pocket queens here for Steven, and he popped it up.
And if you check out the website, there will be a whole bunch of new features coming in the next few weeks.
Craig is going to make the call here with ace-7 suited. And we're going to see a 3-bet here by seat 3. We can't see what he has. And queens cap it. Again, we can't see what seat. Oh, now we can. He's got pocket jacks. He 3-bet. Interesting, he didn't re-raise with queens, and now Craig is out of the hand. But he 3-bet it with jacks now.
And he said a jack.
He
Top
bets.
pair.
Oh, look at this.
10-3.
Steven is just going to call here, and I think Steven's going to try to raise the turn. And it's a 3rd spade.
Well, now Steven's got the queen of spades.
But look at this. Ryan checks, and now Steven's going to bet. Let's see if Ryan check raises. He does.
The funniest thing is that we always talk about this. Had Ryan bet his hand, Steven would have raised, and you would have got a 3-bet in there.
Probably, unless you were scared of 3 spades. Here we go to the river. River's a 10, and Ryan fills up. Yep. Again, it works this way in limit, too. People think that slow playing is going to get more money in, but if you actually look at it, dude, betting out the turn there, I think it's an easy 3-bet heads up. You can't really be scared of the flush there.
Yeah, I really think that Steven was going to raise the turn.
Because, again, you remember, if the guy had a flush draw, wouldn't he raise the flop? You can't necessarily give him credit for having a flush when 3rd spade comes and you bet.
Yeah, and I don't mind Steven's raise. He's got an overpair with the queen of spades in his hand.
Yeah.
Now the interesting thing is, if you raise with queens and you get 3-bet out of the blinds, and the flop comes out Jack 10 blank, what can you beat now?
Well, because you can't beat aces, you can't beat kings, you can't beat jacks, and you can't beat 10s, right?
You can only beat ace king.
Right. Now, I don't know if that was going through Steven's mind because he was really gearing up for a race.
Yeah.
But in actuality, if you really looked at it, and sometimes No Limit has actually been able to allow us to read the hands better because it's for bigger pots. That's not a good flop for queens. If you got re-raised out of the blinds.
Well, yeah, obviously, if you haven't gotten raised, it's fine. But if you get re-raised,
right,
man.
King 9 over here for Steven, and then we have a mystery player here. We got looks like a box card here.
We got a 4th card, and then we have the call of the floor man to get a ruling on this one, folks.
Is there another person in the hand, Dave? I can't see who else is in the hand. Oh, seat 1 is in the hand, Dave. Can't even see his cards. There we go. King Jack.
There's a shot of Ray there.
I don't even know if he knows.
Ray gave him the old, hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, man. I love it. This is Thomas.
No, the nice would be the burn. Because 2 cards came out.
2 cards came out here, Dave. I don't know if we can get his...
Yeah, we're going to get a ruling here, folks.
So the 9 should be the burn.
And the 9 is, it's a huge difference, folks.
Yeah.
Because the flop is Jack.
Jack 7, 4 of clubs. It's actually going to be the 4 clubs there, I'm pretty sure.
And that's Tim, our floor man. He's got to make a ruling on this.
I feel like kind of
Obviously, not only is our show live, but these are humans doing dealing, and sometimes they make a mistake.
That is actually not how the flop came out, though. He was trying to. I don't know if we can get a zoom in here.
Now
on
that
the
he's mixed
flop.
them up all over the place, I hope he still knows.
Came out like this. Came out like this. Should be the 4, but the 9 came out with the 4.
9 is the burn.
Yeah, the
4 is on the flop.
Everybody sure about that?
Steven's probably going, I don't think so.
And actually, seat 1 has king jack, not king queen.
Oh, well, there you
So
go.
that's going to make a difference as well.
So the 9's actually going to, you know what? That's actually a better flop for Steven because that'll get him the easier. Oh, I was going to say he should throw it
He's
away.
gonna come
easier.
out and I think he either check called or he bet there. I couldn't quite tell.
And the flop is actually Jack 7-4. Now another Jack out there.
And yeah, Steven's going to bet again with king 9, and Thomas has trip jacks, and he's going to raise it. And Steven quickly folds.
Now let me throw something at you. If you're pretty sure your opponent is bluffing, I know you love the fast play, but do you ever just like, okay, I'll give you a play. Like, let's say I'm playing against Action Gracie, okay? I have king jack, and I'm in Thomas's spot in seat 1.
You might just wait to raise to the river.
I wait till the river. I let her keep betting. I don't want to let her off the hook.
I think
'Cause I know she's going to keep betting.
I mean, that's a little bit of when you're playing heads up, Dave. That's a little bit different.
Okay.
That slow play is a little bit. I mean, it is still a slow play, but it's much different than, say, slow playing the nut 7 ways on the flop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, because what are they going to call your raise with?
Yeah. Steven's going to raise now here with king queen.
Once again, we try to keep the show as interactive as possible, so thank you for the emails tonight.
And Ryan, he might be playing the player. He's going to call with ace 10 off suit here. Pocket 7s for seat 6. Here we go. Well, 7s are good. Let's see how 7s are going to. He checks. Now, here with 7s, Dave, I would probably lead into the flop. The flop was 9-6-3 if I was Richard, right?
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Well, instead, he check raises. And again, here, you put yourself in a spot where if a blank comes and the guy raises the turn right now, what do?
Yeah.
Well, Steven is just going to call.
Well, he's got more
I mean,
outs
you're
now. He
facing
needs a
2
10, a queen, or a
overcards,
king.
right? Oh, look at this third 7 here on the river. And, you know, some tricky players might. I mean, we actually saw it with Jonas in a no-limit game. He raised the turn, I believe, on somewhat of a similar board
Right.
with the flop of the turn. He had overcards and a gut shot to the 10.
Yeah, and sometimes that's really effective. I would say no limit, you can really force the issue because if a guy bets 300, you can make it 900.
But I got to tell you, for the people that are playing out there who listen to our advice, and usually for the levels that they play at, I say don't make that play. From what I've seen, never make that play because I don't know if anyone's ever going to fold pocket 7s from what
I mean,
we
there
see.
are a few players
Right?
you can make the play against,
Right.
but you've got to be aware. You've got to be aware of who you're making the play against.
Yep.
I often did it. I actually did it last night. And I was so annoyed with myself, and I told you about it before the show. I was making moves against players that weren't paying attention.
Right.
You know, that were just calling stations. I played like a horse's ass last night, and I was telling you about it.
9-8-7 here on the flop.
It's a nice flop for Fred here. He's got a gut shot, backdoor diamonds, plus top pair.
He's going to bet. Steven is going to call with king deuce. Is he set? Oh, he's got jack 4. Richard called with jack 4, and then he hits the jack, and he leads. But Fred also has a straight. This one's going to get chopped up.
Yeah, I mean, Richard got lucky there. He was drawing to a chop, and he got there.
And this is pretty much just check call mode here for a dry jack with no redraw, right? Because you can
definitely.
only chop it. Now we know that neither player has a redraw here. And they check it down.
Yeah. And you wonder what Fred's thinking when he looks at the jack 4.
It's funny, you know, I love Omaha, and we've been playing a little 30, 60, 40, 80 Omaha here at the club recently, Dave. Hopefully the game will be going when I get out, but anyone who's playing Omaha high-low has to realize that when you've got 4 cards in your hand and you have the nuts, you cannot jam it if there are redraws out there, which there usually are, because if somebody has a set, you have to shut down.
Well, there's always, I mean, unless you have 4 of a kind, there's always some sort of redraw, isn't there? I mean, if you have a straight, there's almost always either a flush draw possibility or obviously a full house draw.
Button moves over here to seat 6. I was actually playing that earlier, Dave. I was telling you, I played Omaha for about an hour. I won $1,500, and they got so pissed at me the game broke up, and they started an 81-60 mix game.
I've been pushing our producers. I've been dying to get an Omaha game on Live the Bike. We'll see if maybe we can do it. Maybe we can get you and Shirley heads up Omaha.
That's obviously a little different than full ring Omaha. We got a raise here by the button. He's got ace queen. Okay.
Look at this Broadway out there.
Probably going to miss everyone. Oh, queen comes, and Steven's going to get in
Man,
trouble.
the case queen, folks.
I got to think that Steven, the way that I've seen him play, is probably going to check raise here. Well, actually, Thomas leads with queen 10. Now the button raises, and does Steven want to get involved?
You know, the funny thing is, we always talk about don't play hands that can be easily dominated.
Right.
But this is the first case where it's actually going to come up.
Yep.
You know, we always say Hold'em is a game of kickers. And
ace queen checked the button here, Dave. That's amazing. And the river's a deuce in every, and he's got a wheel now. Why would you check the turn there? I'm a little confused. And Thomas is going to pay him off here. He cannot beat an ace. I mean, the funny thing there is he played it like ace king, but still he got paid off by queen 10 at the end.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up for a reason to check the turn.
Nothing's coming to
I mean,
you,
were
right?
you scared of 6-7? You're scared of ace deuce. I mean, I just thought it doesn't make any sense to me. And maybe he was trying to play it tricky, but wasn't he in position? Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was on the button. Man. I mean, the funny thing is that if he bets the turn, he gets called in probably both spots. He might even get raised in one spot.
I mean, the river card was kind of an action killer for him. I thought, you know, if seat 1 hadn't bet, he was going to bet, and Steven was going to check raise him. And then again, with ace queen, I might even do the smooth call raise the turn play.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially with a flop like that, you wouldn't put your opponents on queen deuce or queen 3 or queen 4. You know what I mean?
Three-way action here. Ace 7-3, a couple diamonds. Craig's got the nut flush draw over there in seat 9. He makes the check call. Pocket, it's like pocket 5's let out here. Turns and
Now, this is one of those times if you raise with a draw, if Craig were to raise this, he would take it down. I mean, he's got a pair with the flush draw, and he's missed, and he's going to lose his hand to Bozzy.
Well, I think Bozzy thinks he needs to bet here to win.
Yeah, oh, man.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of those cases where Craig had a monster flop. He had king 3 of hearts, folks. If he raises at any moment, he takes that down. Kind of pays to be the aggressor.
Button moves over here to seat 8. We're winding down here. And 20-40 limit hold'em. 4-8 chip structured. Yellow chips are $5 chips.
Now we have our 2006 Winning at a Green tournament going on. Today's event was actually limit hold'em, like Bart had said. Tomorrow is actually one of my favorites. It's Bounty, no limit hold'em, where you get a $50 bounty for each person you knock out. And the entry fee is $350, folks.
Steven brings this one in with queen 10 offsuit. Seat number 1 is going to call with a king-queen suited. And once again, Steven is dominated. But it misses, and this one could go check fold here. Check continuation bet. Well, Thomas is going to check call. And Steven's played it pretty aggressively. He probably, well, now he's definitely going to bet. I was going to say he's probably going to bet again here on the turn. And king queen is going to continue to call. And he needs a king and a king only. Oh, the river's an ace. Queen 10 is good here.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm sorry. I was just flabbergasted once again. I mean, you just wonder. The flop is 6-4 deuce with 2 clubs. You have king, queen of spades. I mean, if the king of spades comes out, how do you even know it's good? Man. So once again, tomorrow's tournament is Bounty No Limit Hold'em, folks. It's a $350 tournament. Starts at 4:15 p.m. Kind of cool. That means for every person you knock out, you get $50. It's one of those tournaments where if you knock out, 6 or 7 guys, you don't have to come with the money to make some money.
Seat 5 is going to bring this one in for a raise with the ace king.
Pretty straightforward there.
Small blind calls with jack 10 here.
And we're heads up.
Yep. So Dan here's got the best hand. All diamonds. Neither player has a diamond.
Dan's going to make a continuation bet. The ace king.
Probably going to take it down here, right?
I imagine, yeah. And he does.
Interesting email here from David Gladstone. I did not know this. He says, hey, guys. Didn't know if you guys had already talked about Yosh making the final table at the World Series of Poker circuit event. Yosh Nakano, the highlight
Really?
host here.
I didn't know.
I do not think that event is actually being televised. I remember some players at the table this afternoon talking about the fact that they had a really low turnout for that $10,000 event because it wasn't televised.
Yeah, well, there's also the Heads Up National Championship
Right,
going on
yeah.
and so forth. Like you actually said this last week. You said a lot of the big-time cash players are only playing televised $10,000 tournaments and higher.
Because they're not playing tournaments to make money. They make money on the side. They're playing tournaments to get exposure so they can make money on the side from
Endorsements,
non-poker
right.
things.
Well, look at that. Andy Block, Kathy Liebert,
Yep.
Daryl Gigabyte Dinkin, and Yosh Nakano. Well, best of luck to Yosh. Man, that's great.
No, I think so.
You know, it's funny. Yosh has entered a lot of tournaments. He hasn't had that much success.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think his style really translates well to tournaments.
Right.
You know, he's almost too solid.
Right,
Too solid and too tight.
Right.
Which works well in the cash games, and has worked well for him for years. He almost doesn't gamble enough.
Buttons over here to Ryan.
All right, we're getting too tight, people.
And I'm glad that this is kind of slowed down now as opposed to the beginning of the night, Dave.
Yeah. And they chop it up.
Yep.
Button moves over to Bozzy.
Getting tight with the worst hands.
Game is dying, guys.
We've got one seat open here.
And tomorrow night's game, we're going to leave the schedule open because you never know what's going to happen with winning of the green going on. But it could be our 3 to 500 game with 5-5 blinds.
Yeah, what is the tournament tomorrow?
Where it's the bounty no limit hold'em.
Yeah, we could get a bigger no limit game on because of the fact that you know whatever's here, we're going to do. Well,
Kings for Bozzy.
Yeah, a
there.
couple limpers here, and Bozzy's got kings, and he's going to pop it up here one time on the button.
Pretty automatic raise there on the button.
Craig had limped in with ace rag and pocket threes over there for seat 1. And seat 5 is going to cold call here in the small blind with 9-10 offsuit, Dave.
Well, he figures enough players in there. Why not? Any 2 cards, right?
Well, 8 small bets as we go to the flop 4 ways. Bozzy with kings in seat 4, the pre-flop raiser.
Not a bad flop for him.
Queen 10 deuce. And you wonder if Dan's going to call at least once now.
Well, now the pot is big enough. I think Dan almost has to call one time.
He does. This is totally missed Craig, and it's missed Thomas.
And you see a mistake we're getting now. He's calling $20 there, cost him another $20.
Well, now he picks up a straight draw as well as Bozzy, and he comes out and bets now. And let's see if Bozzy raises and might check it down here if he misses the straight. This might be the first time we see it tonight, Dave. Here we go to the river. The river's a 7. And there it is.
Yep.
Raise and a check.
It's a nice play by him because even if, let's say your opponent had, say, Jack 10 there.
Right.
It's really difficult for that player to re-raise you because you're representing ace-king. If you improve your hand, hey, you get the extra money in there. If you don't improve your hand, you get the free showdown. Well played by Bozzy.
Button moves over here to seat 5. Again, that was the first time we've seen that move tonight. We keep talking about it constantly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty advanced play, I think.
Yeah. Pocket deuces here for Bozzy. Let's see if he brings this one in for a raise.
I think in late position, I think it's an automatic raise, isn't it?
Pretty
Yeah.
tight table.
Especially with nobody else entered the pot.
If it's a guy that's automatically going to defend with any 2 cards, I've folded deuces actually in late position before. You know?
Okay.
We're heads up here. Deuces against 6s.
Well, there's a deuce.
Yep. Bozzy's, and look at this. Richard leads with 6s. And Bozzy's going to raise immediately with his set. Wow.
Pretty straightforward.
Turns an ace. Check, check now. And is Bozzy trying to possibly induce a bluff here? It's a 3rd heart. And he's, well, yeah, but the question is, can he raise now? I mean, has he made this place to raise, and will he get called? And he's not going to get called. Again, I'm not really always a big fan, Dave, of the turn check.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, let's leave that board on for 1 second. I'm just going to throw something at you. If he checks the turn, because I actually like that play there by Bozzy. If he bets the turn, I think Richard probably throws the hand away.
Because of the ace.
Because of the
Scary,
ace.
Right.
Okay? I think that the only thing is you got to wonder is, what happens if that guy actually had an ace? How do you know exactly what
Right.
he has? Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Thank you, Isaac. And Ronnie. Oftentimes somebody will have nothing there, and the only way to make money is to induce the bluff. Like I said, it's not a play I will do very often in Limit Hold'em. Every once in a while against a player that I really know might take a shot at it on the river with nothing. Somebody like you.
Looks like we have time for a couple more hands.
I mean, it's probably a play that if you were playing against me, it's probably a play if you did it against me, it would work as well. Because you know that I'll often take a shot at it on the river if you check it to me.
But I mean, the way that we play, it just wouldn't make any sense to check an ace there on the turn.
Yeah,
You know,
it'd be odd.
it would smell of something strange, right?
Right.
Well, you're right. In that case, he did get an extra bet out of it. Ryan's going to bring this one in with sevens. And this is going to be the last hand of the night, actually. Okay. Last hand of the night here, folks. And this game has kind of slowly grinded to a
Yeah, and
halt.
that's it. And Ryan's going to take this down.
I think we've exited
Pre-flop.
right around the right time there. So that was good. Good that we got that action in the first 3 hours. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Please join us tomorrow for most likely either 300 to 500 no limit or possibly something higher.
Yeah.
So for everyone here in the booth and for Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.